Hello, everyone. We are live. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back, everyone.
We're live and we're alive.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. Amen. That's why we go live every day, just to prove to everybody that we're still living.
No, that's a
If we're not
miracle.
live, we may not be alive. So it's just it's like that song. Ha ha ha. Stay alive.
Stay alive. No, yeah, it is. It is.
I mean,
that
there's
way.
something to it, right?
Yeah.
Like there's something. It's like showing up for work every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we got into the rhythm. So it's like if we don't show up, people are going to be like, "Are they alive?
I
Like,
think
are
so.
they alive?
I think so.
Like, we need them to be on live to make sure that we know that they are alive.
And I think that's a good thing. I think if
know?
you have been wondering,
Got to show up and show out.
right? Exactly. If you guys have
Ain't no
been
joke.
wondering
Yeah.
if we're alive, yes. So
You can be like, well, just go to Brent's YouTube channel. You'll find out real quick if he's live or not.
right.
Just go to his YouTube channel.
So
You'll
thank
find
you
out.
guys.
Mario will be there the whole bunch.
Yes.
And we're adding more characters to the bunch. So we're
Yeah.
looking for people. So if you want to be on here, you just let us know. Let us know.
Exactly.
We're looking. People we can remote you in. We got the programs. We got it all going.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing. All right. So today we're talking about franchise fatigue. I would say that's like the most generic way to say it.
Yeah.
It's basically what's going on with Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's really bigger than the Hollywood, in a way. It's like the franchises all together. So it's like Star Wars, Jurassic Park, all the big ones, Star Trek, even.
Yeah.
Like what's going on? Are they worth saving? This is definitely conducive for like a live debate. So if you guys are new here, if you like this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment or two. This is a live debate, so we want your interaction. So if you guys are scrolling through YouTube and you just now discovered us, leave a comment.
Yes,
like, I want to talk about this one or that one, or what are they doing with Harry Potter? What I find crazy just about Harry Potter before we dive into this is the fact that there's been all this chatter about the new Harry Potter series.
Yeah.
And it's not even out yet.
Yeah.
It's not even out until the very end of the year, until December 25th, 2026.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
If anything, that also shows you how powerful franchises are, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much talk about it. And it's not even out until the very end of the year. So that makes me think, like, also the kids grow so fast.
Yeah, they do.
So it makes me think that these kids are going to be relatively, they're going to look totally different. And I guess that's the idea, right?
To see them grow even.
The 8 seasons.
Maybe.
Yeah, but that's a lot. That's a lot.
It is. It truly is. But we'll see how it plays out.
Hey, Dag Overhaul. He says it's alive. That's right. It's alive, and we're alive.
Hello, Dag Overhaul. Thank you for being here.
Dag, we're glad you're here. So, you guys, we're going to talk about save it or end it, right?
Yeah.
We're going to see which franchises need a reset, which ones need to be left alone altogether, things like that. So, we're going to be talking about Marvel, Star Wars, DC, Star Trek, and whether or not they can be saved. So, we're going to have different verdicts. So like the verdict, kind of like a judge, which is funny because we've done these, we played with these wigs that we have. Did you see I hung them up? Do you see them in there?
No, I didn't.
I put them up on the wall.
Oh, that's nice.
So they're kind of hanging.
Yeah.
That's like, is the franchise thriving? Does it need a reset? Is it on its last chance? Does it need to be like, let it rest for a while or just end it? Right.
And you guys chime in and let us know.
Yeah, you guys let us know. Leave a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. Hey, Fawad, how are you?
Hello, Fawad.
It's recording. All right, so we're going to dive into it. So tonight we're talking Marvel, Star Wars, DC, Star Trek, and Hollywood's biggest entertainment franchises. And they're going into the emergency room because right now, this is the pivotal time of year where we're doing what's called Comic-Con, right? So Comic-Con is happening in San Diego right now. And so this is why this is kind of a ripe topic for debate, let's say.
Yeah.
All right. So chat, you guys are going to be deciding. So if you're watching this, leave a comment. Let us know which franchise you want us to talk about.
Yeah.
We're talking about all the big franchises. And if you're feeling like you don't want to go to the movie theater anymore, or that you're not appreciating what they're doing with your beloved stories that you remember from your childhood, then let's talk about it. Or if you love what they're doing and you're not sure why there's backlash, let us know.
Yeah.
Because the reason why these topics, they kind of feel like they're part of the public discourse because they feel like they belong to the public because they're so popular.
And we're so familiar with them.
Yeah, and some people may argue that they've been kind of shoved down our throats. Like it's like, okay, this is so promoted that now it feels like it's public domain in terms of the public discourse around that topic.
Yeah,
like whereas like we're more willing to talk about a franchise and let's say an individual celebrity because the franchise it's not personal. But have you noticed how like the conversation has used to be around the celebrity?
I think, yeah.
And now people are really discussing the properties themselves, which I think is really fascinating transition.
It's a phenomenon, I think, and yeah, I mean, because naturally they will have to transition also from actors, which is
right, because like people, leave the franchise,
yeah,
they grow out of it, or they may not want to return to the role.
Yeah, they get rid of their character at all. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
But thank you for being here, John Scott, and We May Be Doomed. Hello.
Hey, We May Be Doomed. Hello. What do we call you? We May Be Doomed.
Yeah, let us know your nickname.
My theory is that's Tanya. That's my theory. So we're talking about Hollywood is broken. I seldom watch any of it, and wait until it's free on some platform. Well, you're not alone with that. We May Be Doomed. That's part of what we're discussing here. So the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in particular, went from transforming, the movie industry, and then to asking audiences to trust another enormous Avengers event, like Avengers Doomsday, which is scheduled for December 18th, 2026. That's the next one.
Yeah.
And so Star Wars is trying to restore the theatrical momentum, all developing new stories like this new one, which is Star Wars Starfighter. Now, I also don't, I'm not questionable, like Starfighter. I'm like, are you fighting stars? Like, why is it called a Starfighter? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
You guys let me know if it's probably based off of one of the extended universe books. But we'll see. And DC is building another connected universe that already has dated its next Superman-centered film. So the next Superman film, it already has a release date.
Oh, wow.
And so I think it's very interesting because Supergirl, it's like we're still kind of doing an autopsy on Supergirl.
I think so.
Yeah, and they had already scheduled Superman, the next Superman movie. So I think it's very interesting and to see how we're doing. Fawad, he's in Texas. Thank you for asking. And Star Trek this year is celebrating its 60th anniversary, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But fans are continuing to fight in terms of Star Trek as to like where is that going to go? Because people were not super thrilled with what they did with this last show that was on Paramount Plus. Did you hear me chatting about that at all?
Yeah,
it's called Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, and I kind of saw a little bit of it. Well, not even the episodes, just like the promo. That they made, that they had. Yeah,
there was a lot of memes about that, kind of making fun of it. And I think Star Trek, the idea of Star Trek is to be inclusive, but Starfleet Academy probably kind of took it to people thought too far. Let's say. Meanwhile, Jurassic Park, they still have dinosaurs. That world is still going on. We had that movie this year with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Was that this year or last year?
Last year, I think.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
So, which did a lot better than Superman. It made over $300 million more.
Yeah.
Middle Earth is returning. So they're making new movies around Lord of the Rings. With it's the hunt for Gollum. So that's the next thing. And then Harry Potter is being made for television. Which again, I think it's so wild because we've been talking about this for at least a couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's still still like 6 months away. Doctor Who is confronting another uncertain transition. Doctor Who is a British franchise. Mario, have you heard of Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Audience, have you guys heard of Doctor Who? I'd be really curious.
Was it the original with Benedict Cumberbatch? Has been always.
I think it was there. I think it's been around for a long time. I think there was even someone before him. Like I think it was been. I think it's like Star Trek. It's been around for like 60 years. Honestly.
Oh wow, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. If you guys are interested in any of these topics, let me know.
Star Trek is 60 Shun.
We May Be Doomed says. It was so bad, I couldn't get through the first episode.
From which
Star
one?
Trek is 60. Shatner is 95. That's right. We May Be Doomed. Which one are you talking about?
Maybe Star Trek.
Maybe. Oh yeah, probably the new Star Trek. Yeah. A lot of people had that complaint about the new Star Trek. They were like, "This is not." And so what's happened with Star Trek is that's kind of been. They're planning on like retconning it, like pretending like that never happened. This last Starfleet Academy, and then also even James Bond is in there, right? So James Bond is like they're searching for a new identity. Who's the next Bond?
Yeah,
I'd be curious to know.
A big question to ask.
Right, the Terminator still refuses to stay dead. Right, the Terminator, they're always finding reasons to bring it back. Alien and Predator are finding new life all the time. So tonight's question is not simple. It's not like our franchise is bad. I think on some level we do like franchises.
Yeah.
But some of the greatest stories in popular culture, they do belong to franchises. They allow, characters to grow over decades. They allow parents to share certain stories with their kids. It's like, here's a new version of this,
Yeah.
So it's a way for us to connect legacies. I think that's what makes it really cool.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's I'm not making an argument against franchises because they can build communities. And I'm a big advocate. Anytime there's an entertainment property and we can all gather around it and say we love this thing or we love that thing, I think that's a good thing. I think that's healthy. But it becomes a problem whenever, because they're shared languages and memories and traditions. That's good. But the bad part is whenever it becomes like just a property to be exploited, or it's no longer a legacy. It's like a logo. It's no longer about the core stories. It's about just how much money can we get out of this. And I think it takes a real genuine concerted effort to make any property work for an extended period of time. Like Lord of the Rings, those first 3 movies are incredible. They're so magical and transformative. And I know people talk about it all the time that they've watched those movies over and over and over again. And there was something about the Hobbit trilogy where they were like, I've only watched it once. And I'm like, why is that?
We can talk about that. Yeah, like definitely I'm wondering the same thing, to be quite honest, because I've seen it happen, with even Star Wars. So
right. Absolutely. So, the question is like, there's a continuation, and then is it a continuation of a storyline, or is it just a product extension? A story someone needed to tell, or is it content because we need, another quarter of, let's say growth, subscriber growth.
Right.
Now there's all this talk about subscriber growth. It's almost like you see Netflix and you see HBO Max and you see these different, outlets talking as if they were like a YouTube channel, which is kind of fascinating, but it also makes perfect sense in the world of democratized media. Where every single individual property, it tends to have less and less cultural weight in a world where we're kind of over, it's like being in the ocean and like there's waves coming over you. And I think audiences are just kind of, if they can opt out, they're starting to opt out more and more, because it's like, how much of the cultural conversation, like here, if you're on YouTube, you can leave a comment right now.
Yeah, please do.
You can. So John Shepard's here.
Hey,
you
John
guys
Shepard.
can talk.
Yeah.
He says, it's very sad coincidence, but I hope they both make good recoveries.
They're talking about
the franchises?
Shatner and his daughter.
His daughter? What happened with them?
They are both. They both have.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that. Yeah, they both got diagnosed with something, which is very heartbreaking. Yeah. I saw that, and it's interesting because I think those kind of stories too. Some stories like they break through, and they used to be like the story of the day.
Yeah.
But now there's like a news feed, and it's just constantly going.
Yeah.
And so you have like your headline story, and then you got this news scroll, and I see stuff that just gets like a little text on the bottom of the screen, and I'm like, dang, like 30 years ago, that would have been like the whole week. The whole week they've been talking, they've been analyzing this. It would be nonstop dissecting this story.
Right.
But because there are so many things happening simultaneously all around the world, it just gets like a little boom, like little piece of text. Whereas before that would have been like, Sunday night sit down interview with the person, like a whole shebang. And I think the way media explores stories and what's happening in the world and the zeitgeist has just dramatically changed. And that's why we're here to talk about it. And you guys, this is why we're going live. So you guys can join the chatter. You guys can join the conversation. Leave a comment.
Please
I'd be curious to hear what your thoughts are too.
Hello, Sultan.
Hey, Sultan, what's going on? Part of this is about the 24-hour news cycle as well. All of this is a part of it. My hair's gotten so long. It's one of those things where... This is why I think people also like YouTube, is because you can interact with people, and it's like they're doing something music, it might not, but I'm like, it's gotten so long, and every day I'm like, I know I need to get it cut, but I'm not precious about my hair. I'm like, chop it off. But you guys let me know what I should do with my hair. I'd be curious to think. Mohawk, anybody?
For a super chat, maybe.
Yeah, for a super chat. I definitely need to get it cut. Definitely need to get this. It's just too much. Do you have dandruff, Mario, by the way?
Say what?
Do you ever have dandruff?
Oh, no.
I have dandruff. I think whenever you're like, the lighter your hair is, the more dandruff you have.
Oh,
because I'm like, I can make it snow, baby.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And make it snow on my phone. Like, I'll look at my phone and I'm like, what is all that? It's like, it's your freaking dandruff, bro. Like, you need help. Get help.
To be quite honest with you, I was wanting to leave my hair longer just to have something like summer haircut, summer hairstyle. So you could
like kind of like what you can see someone and like do like wave your head around.
Yeah, kind of like
slow mo.
Yeah, summer vibes,
And
summer
someone be like,
maxing.
"Oh, look at Mario, he's so cool." And you're like, "Oh, hey, it's you over there.
But I'm
What's
also
going on?"
open to suggestions, guys. So
Yeah, I
hey,
think
Danny.
Mario's really rocking that haircut. By the way,
Thank you.
you
Yeah.
let me know.
Hey, Danny Morales.
Hey, Danny Morales, ¿qué tal? What's going on? Jimmy's
Hello.
in Texas, Danny. He's in Texas, so um he's he's ending summer. He goes to school on August 5th.
Oh, okay.
So he's enjoying these last days of summer, which I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You know, you want to let kids run free and go do all that kind of stuff and
Mhm.
you know go I don't know. I was gonna say find a snake in the forest, but you know whatever the kids do.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I'm thinking about my own childhood, and I think
Mhm.
Jimmy is definitely, you know, we're talking about my little nephew here. He's definitely one of those kids who loves being out in nature.
Mhm.
He loves camping. He loves, you know, four wheelers. He loves,
Yeah.
you know, boating. He loves fishing.
Yeah.
All things that are related to outdoors, he's down for it.
Mhm.
And I think that's cool.
Hello, Gizmo. Yeah,
Hey
it's
Gizmo,
cool.
what's going on? Hey Gizmo, welcome to the chat. All right, so tonight I think it's a very universal topic.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because whether you have participated in these big franchises or not, it feels like it's been thrust upon us as a culture. So
And
we're constantly negotiating with it.
Yeah.
Like, is this worth another movie, or is this like why collectively? These are big questions. Why collectively did we not go see Supergirl or Moana? These things. It's kind of like, are we making a real like a strong choice to not do it, or is it because of cost? Does it feel like we're rewarding a system that's inherently broken?
Yeah.
I think there's some of that. You know, some of that energy going on.
We ask ourselves the same questions, guys. So this is just a way for us to also understand it, or at least for me.
Yeah, and you guys don't forget to like the video if you're here.
Please do so. Yeah, don't forget to like the video as well. And I think franchises are also very recognizable. Even if you haven't watched them, you know, even if you have watched the product, maybe you may have heard of it. So I think that's powerful in and of itself.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the most iconic franchises that are out there. So if you guys are just not tuning in, we're just not getting started. So we're asking, you know, what can cause trust to collapse, like with your fan base?
Yeah.
You know, is it excessive output? Is it the creative leadership? I think in the last few years, it's been blamed on creative leadership. With Star Wars, it's been blamed on Kathleen Kennedy. With DC, it's been blamed on like Zack Snyder, or now James Gunn. So these big names, these people who are leading their franchises, it's like people, you know, are openly critical of these things, but because it's also deeply connected to their childhood as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, there are some roots there. And John Shepard says Star Wars and DC have really suffered this year with Mando and Supergirl, and both beaten at the box office by YouTube directors.
Absolutely, John Shepard, 100%. Great point. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to the chat.
Yeah. We've talked about it a little bit before, but what's happening as well, right? We see these movies that were designed basically to attract the audience, not attracting the audience as they intended to. So that's also kind of
I think also like Mario and I we had to go look at this house today, and on the way there I was telling Mario, because I'm always thinking out loud, I said, don't you think it's interesting that like Supergirl and Moana, like it would have been better if they did zero marketing for those movies. Like they probably would have performed in a way better if there was no marketing at all. It was just like, you know when Beyonce released her Lemonade album, and Mario's like, interesting, because you know whenever the return is so low on investment, and Mario's like, what is it again? Like how much do they spend on these movies? I'm like, usually it's 100% of your budget. That's how much your marketing budget is. Because you need that much money to go out there and promote something, to get it out there, you know, into the zeitgeist, into the culture. And I think now there's just not the same level of traditional outlets anymore. So there's just you can't reach everybody in the same way, because you're competing with everybody.
And I think in
terms of eyes.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's they have also been trying to get their attention from different places, but it's not quite as clear as it was before, maybe, you know, like because you know, even promotion now can be going to this TV show, or like to get an interview with this guy and whatever. But I think it's being you know, a different thing than what it was before, or what it used to be.
Right. And have you noticed, like, whenever they have a celebrity, good point, John Shepard, you're not alone with that. There are a lot of people that are critical, and I get it. And I think that James Gunn has a particular type of flavor, and James Gunn in terms of DC, because he's the head of DC.
Yeah.
And so it's like kind of like the trashy superhero. It's like, oh, I don't give a crap. You know, like I'm hungover, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
That superhero, I think that worked for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily, because he did Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily universally applicable to
Mm-hmm.
our heroes because what is a hero?
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of turning every single hero into an anti-hero,
Yeah.
I think is just an instinctive like mistake. But I
Mm-hmm.
think it can work sometimes. But I think like everything, it can out where it's welcome.
Right. Hey, Mark Sands.
Hey, Mark Sands, how's it going? How are you?
Hello.
He says, by the way, Shatners are free now. That's wonderful. That's great.
Cool. Yeah.
I am a little bit paranoid about those types of topics because I'm always like, I'm like, I feel the tingle here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, there was a guy who had he was on HGTV, and his name was Tarek El Musa. Anyway, he had a big television show, Mario in the United States, and one of the fans actually wrote him a letter and was like, "I think that you have blah blah blah," because he had like a really extended like Adam's apple or something like that.
Yeah.
And he went to the doctor and he did have the.
Wow.
It was crazy because I remember thinking like, what if he didn't open up that piece of fan mail?
I think I even saw that story. Like
that was groundbreaking. I remember thinking like, wow, that is a great relationship with your audience.
Yeah.
And the fact that someone is pointing that out. So if you see anything, you're like, Brent, you need to get that checked. Mm-hmm. So I was like, you need to get your brain checked, Brent. I'm like, I know. That's why I'm raising money. Super chats, my mental health.
Same for me, guys.
Yeah. Same for Mario, because I think we're in this. I think people are also looking for a conversation, and that's what we're trying to provide here. Yeah. Because I think AI is always a part of the conversation. It just cannot not be. It always is. It's always there. It's always lingering. It's everywhere. I was showing Mario an ad that I was shown today. I wasn't on Facebook for like a year, and then I went on there and I'm like, the ads are like scaring me because what's out there now.
Yeah.
And like, watch this. And it's like completely AI made. And I'm like, like, I'm like in the corner, like just like rocking back and forth. And I feel like I'm not alone and kind of feeling that way. Not that I'm physically doing that, but like in our heads, it's kind of like, this idea of being like traumatized by all of the cultural things that are going on right now, or the lack of things.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I think also Hollywood, there's a refusal to like let anything end too. Like if something makes money, it's almost like a sin in terms of, properties to let a property die if you know that you can squeeze some more juice out of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think now it's just harder to recognize when you can get more juice out of it.
Yeah.
And I think Moana is a good example of that. And that's less about franchises and more about remakes, but I think the same rules, apply in terms of the audience refusing.
Yeah.
To participate in that. Right. You guys, if you're joining us, don't forget to like the video. So our audiences sometimes, and I think audiences are impossible to please sometimes, depending on who it is. Mm-hmm. Some audiences are impossible to please. And then also I do think it is the actual creator of the franchise's faults, quote unquote faults, for why something is just not working.
I think as audiences, we might be.
By the way, you guys let us know the lighting, if it's too much, if it's too bright, or if it's too dark.
Yeah.
This is live, so we can adjust the lighting. Because I'm always curious, because everyone's on different devices. Like for example, on my device right now, I'm like super pale. I don't know. Am I pale on your devices? Maybe I've got a yummy tan, on your device. I don't know. It depends.
Yeah.
John Shepard says, but this John Shepard knows what we're doing here. You guys leave chats because we want to interact with you. He says, but Star Wars can succeed in another medium, like games. I think you make a really good point there. Some things, like there's even a new game that they're advertising right now based off of Game of Thrones. Have you seen that?
No.
They're paying a lot of money because I really like avoid all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's been pushing to the top of the feed, this game. And I don't play games.
Yeah.
But have you guys seen the ads for that? This new Game of Thrones game? They've been advertising like crazy. It's a massive, what is it called? MMO part. I can't remember the name of it right now. I'm having a brain burp.
Oh,
massive online multiplayer game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But Mario, we're gonna talk this out and with the chat, and so we're gonna make a case for and against every franchise. But you guys are gonna make the final diagnosis. For every property. Is it thriving? Does it need a reset? Does it need a last chance? Does it need? Do we need to let it rust for a while, or do we just need to like end it? Like this is like run its course. If we do anything else to it, it's going to be like damaging. And I think some people feel that way about a lot of these properties.
Yeah.
So after every verdict, we'll ask, what single change would win you back as like a consumer or a viewer? Like, what would be the one single change to get you back to, let's say, Harry Potter, show, or back to see another DC movie, or back to come see Avengers, or back to see a Jurassic Park or the Terminator? And I think what's wild is that there are so many examples that it's like proving the point that like, it's like, if this first one made money, it's like we have to turn it into a franchise. Yeah. And it's very interesting. And it's kind of like this success with Barbie. But it's like, what if we treated the success of Oppenheimer in the same way? And I think in some ways we have, not because it's like you can turn Oppenheimer into a franchise, but the idea of turning this historical, like history, these historical events. Like there's this new movie coming out with Brendan Fraser. It's about D-Day. And I feel like this movie got made because of Oppenheimer. Yeah. Because I'm like, Oppenheimer like proved that this movie, this type of movie is still relevant in today's world. So this new Brendan Fraser movie is going to come out about D-Day. Now, does it look anything like Dwight D. Eisenhower? Not really. But I think the story needs to be told. Will it make money? I don't know. I don't know if it's even come out yet. I can't remember the name of it, but it was about how they delayed D-Day by one day. Pressure. Yeah. And that's a great name. Yeah. Right? Because it's literally talking about the pressure and how that affects the weather. So.
Do you even play Star Wars games, or is it just middle life crisis?
That's a good question, John Scott. Like, who's playing these games?
To be honest, I have the Lego game, the Star Wars Lego game.
I think it's okay to have. I mean, I think it's okay to do anything theoretically, right? Yeah. So it says, do youth even play Star Wars games?
I do, John Scott.
Yeah, but you played Legos. It's different.
But
because these games are like so immersive,
like the video game.
Oh,
like the Lego video game. Yeah.
Oh, the Lego video game. Yeah. Oh, I feel like we all played that one. There was that one. I mean, there was even a Harry Potter Lego game.
Yeah.
And I also think Legos, it's a great way to like cheat your way into creating a game without having to spend too much time on the graphics.
Yeah.
Because you can make it all plasticky.
Like blocky. Yeah.
All right. So at the end of the night, we're gonna name the healthiest franchise. So you guys stick around. The healthiest franchise, the most damaged franchise, the easiest franchise to repair, and the franchise surviving entirely on nostalgia, and the one Hollywood should just stop touching altogether, and the fictional universes with the strongest future. And so, Mario, you'll probably have some guesses, and I don't know if there's one definitive answer, but I think we'll give our definitive answer.
Yeah, right.
Right. So before we open the case, which franchise has disappointed you the most? So Mario, that's the question for you, and this is a question for chat as well. You guys, welcome to the channel. We're a new channel.
Yes.
So when I say new, I'm like, it's new for us.
Yeah.
You know, because we're still getting going.
Yeah. I think for me, maybe Marvel and superheroes in general, I think we are getting a little bit tired of that. At least from my end, I think there would be like a new way to talk about it, that it's not the way that we've been doing it, maybe.
Yeah.
And for me, it's that one mainly. I kind of miss the latest ones because it was just, like there was no surprising factor anymore for me.
Right.
And
so superheroes in general.
Yeah.
But go on. So tell me you're saying, because I think it's interesting because what you feel inside is similar.
Yeah.
If not, no one feels like the exact same thing. But if entire audiences, like segments of the population that would have gone to see your movie are not going to see it, despite extensive advertising, what is the logic behind that? What is the reasoning?
So, I mean, for me, it's simple. I mean, I think that there are too many movies, superhero movies, maybe.
How dare you? No, I get it.
Coming out, and they even have schedules, and that makes sense. I think that makes sense. But the fact that you can not even have like any sort of, I don't know, maybe surprise that they are releasing it without you knowing, I think that's also part of it. And I think that's been my feeling.
The fact that these movies have release dates like 3 years into the future.
Yeah.
Sometimes I hear that too, and I'm like, that's so crazy.
Yeah,
but you know why they do that too, though? They do that because, I know because I worked for a movie theater chain for many years, and they do it because these release dates are super competitive.
Oh wow!
So it's kind of like putting your stake in the ground and like claiming your territory.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So it's like they're saying this is the goal. We're going to release it on this date, and because I remember back when Scream, I was working at in the movie theaters whenever Scream 4 came out and all these different things, and but we would get the release dates of all these different movies, and I was like, wow, it's a factory line. You know,
Right.
It reminded me of like just like a factory line.
Right.
And I was like, that's so crazy. But it's true. But I think it does maybe zap like the idea of it feeling spontaneous and feeling creatively authentic.
And I think, I mean, I know that they have to do it also because of, budgeting reasons and everything, but at the same time, I guess it's just like my interpretation of it, but I feel like superhero movies also need to be, I don't know, less, maybe rely less on visual effects, maybe like special effects, I meant to say.
I think it can zap the feeling that what you're watching is like authentic. For example, like let's say you guys are watching right now. So if everything that was on screen, it started like digitized and like I was interacting with stuff that wasn't there, you'd start questioning. You're like, okay, well, I was watching this because I don't want to watch AI stuff. Like I've been seeing all this AI stuff in my feed, and I stopped on these two guys because they're real people, right? But if we start adding in all this stuff that's like adding to your visual field, you're like, okay, that's all fake. You know, people are starving for authenticity.
Yeah.
That's why people will come into the chat and they're like, hey guys, da 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 da. And that's what we're going for here, right? But if like there was like a CGI bird that came down and I swatted it away, like that might be funny for a visual gag. But at one point, are you like, is any of that real?
Right.
Like what is real?
Yeah.
I think that's a legitimate question. And I think when you're watching movies, when everything is so CGI, that's why like He-Man, this latest one, or this Masters of the Universe, it was like after it was done, it was like I don't even remember what I just saw. It was just like it was just a bunch of CGI.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this?
And it obviously boils down to personal preference too. But
thank you, Mark Sands. He says, I think the multiverse really hurt Marvel.
Thank you.
If anything is possible, then what actually matters?
That was kind of my point. That was kind of my point also. Because they were also trying to, create like these new ways of expanding the thing, like making it multiverse and everything. And that was kind of my point. I mean, if if everything's possible, I mean,
it's like any conceivable thing is possible. Yes, I think that's probably true for reality.
They even had a pretext to
make things precious.
Exactly.
Nothing's.
They even had the pretext to get the three Spider-Mans together, so that was also kind of like,
it felt like a magical event, but at the same time at the end it kind of like felt maybe emotionally hollow, you could say.
A little bit,
because it was like it was
for me
in a way I enjoyed it, but on the other hand it's like, okay, well then how do you top that?
Exactly.
Like how do you top that? Because it's a big question. John Scott, that's a really good point. Hollywood should just accept AI. Well, I think they are accepting AI, but I think some people may argue that that's the problem. Because what does acceptance look like? Because it is like, is total acceptance like submission to the thing? And I think that they've already been using AI for years. But now they're using it like it's so accessible, and so it just feels so familiar. So I think they've actually had access to their own AI abilities. It's just now it's been democratized, so now everyone has access to it, and so it's kind of like, dang, that's crazy,
right? Yeah.
And I always wonder, like, what I'm seeing on my feed, is it the same as someone else? Obviously, it's not exactly the same, but then in terms of where AI comes in, maybe they're selling to me AI in terms of filmmaking, which they obviously are, because this is my world. But they're selling AI. If you're a writer, they're probably selling you all this AI stuff related to writing, or visual effects. If you work in visual effects, or whatever, manufacturing, every conceivable thing, AI has its fingers on that. And so, and the discoverability of this video, AI has to do with that, right? So it's like, it's going to suggest this video, subtly to all the people who are interested in Star Wars, Disney franchises, talking about filmmaking, maybe the people like Nerdrotic, or Jester Bell, some of these other people who are YouTubers who might be in a similar category in terms of what they talk about.
Right.
So it's very interesting. So I think the framework for a franchise to really work too is like, what is the identity of said franchise? What's its identity? Like, and if, as of now, does that franchise still know what makes it distinctive? Right. Trust. Does the audience trust its creative leadership? Do we trust that they're going to deliver on the promise of the original premise? I think those are legitimate questions. And the characters, viewers are obviously very emotionally invested in particular characters, like Captain America, like Chris Evans' character being Captain America. Like there was a real rejection to them changing who was Captain America. With being a Brave New World. Which is a funny name because it's related to Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, but it was called Captain America: Brave New World, and that did not perform well. And so it was people saying, "No, if you're going to give us Captain America, we want our Captain America." So it just felt like a betrayal to the audience.
Like the familiarity that it creates, it's also a part of how you interpret the franchise.
Absolutely. And then the possibility, like, are there meaningful stories left to be told inside of said franchise, or has it run its course, and do we need to let it be and then explore new creative properties or create new ones? But I think it's maybe like the snake eating its tail type of situation too, because I don't know if there's a clear-cut answer, because I think it's like a perfect storm. I think the bigger studios are losing their ability to sell this level of blockbuster to mainstream audiences, while there's a democratization of media. And also people are just, tired of those things, because it's like everything is it's not an improvement on the original.
Right.
Just because something is more convincing to your eye in that moment doesn't make the product inherently better. So like the advancements in like AI. So maybe it's more convincing than ever what I'm seeing on screen is real, but it doesn't take us back to the magic we felt from the first films. Like it's like Jurassic Park. On some level, it's like, how can you top the level of magic that came from these animatronic dinosaurs? There was CGI. There was mixed. It was mixed in there, but it definitely wasn't AI. But it was CGI.
Yeah. And I think the image that you have of the original franchise, let's say, will always be the like the line that you compare between movies and iterations of the thing.
Like Indiana Jones, that's we're always going to compare to that first Indiana Jones, and that experience that felt so authentic and real and magical.
So even that is hard to replicate across generations, even.
Right. Yeah, I mean, even things like Fast and the Furious or Pirates of the Caribbean. The Hunger Games, because there's another Hunger Games coming out, and it's just kind of like, so I think audiences have just become used to, like, every single year there's going to be another installment of said property. Here you go, eat it up.
Fast and the Furious is interesting because they also tried to add like new crazy cases every time, like
oh my gosh,
airplanes, everything.
It's like do you remember the success of Cars for Disney? And so they're like, okay, planes, and it didn't work.
And
they're like, well, because you can't necessarily take everything and make it give it a anthropomorphic features. It was like, okay, airplanes, and then what's next? Scooters, like the idea that every mode of transportation is a possible thing to be animated.
Yeah, like even a possible franchise, let's say.
Yeah, its own franchise. So we're not judging whether the original movies were great. That's not what we're debating here. Because I think arguably, if it did become a franchise, the original movie probably was great in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
But we are diagnosing whether the franchise has a compelling future. Okay. So we have our first movie that you already showed, which is Avengers.
Yeah.
So that's the first one. Just Marvel in general too, right? Like the Marvelization. It's like become a verb.
Yeah.
Like the Marvelization of Hollywood or the Marvelization of the franchise.
Which tells a lot about what this franchise created, and
like it set us up for this.
Yeah.
But I think there's some iconic characters inside of this world here.
Definitely, yeah.
But the issue is that you have something of value, but it's like you milk it, and then it's like, okay, what is there left?
At what point
that feels compelling?
Yeah, at what point there are no more iterations of it,
Well, I'm also thinking, like, there's so many characters just in this one image alone.
Yeah.
That I think that's a lot to expand off of. But at some point, it's like, does something need to be its own individual property versus an extended universe of Marvel?
Yeah.
I don't know. But Marvel did something really extraordinary, though. It persuaded a massive audience to treat an interconnected continuity as an attraction rather than an inconvenience. That was a big deal. So for a decade, audiences did believe that every movie was contributing to a destiny, right? To a destination, at least, of the story. Even the weaker installments still felt relevant because viewers trusted that the larger story was moving somewhere.
Right.
but the MCU's greatest asset was the connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
But its greatest problem may be that connection, right? Like there's so many different things. It's like, oh, to understand this, you have to watch these 5 different television shows.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, well, gosh, well, you know what? I really just wanted to watch something relaxing on a Friday afternoon
that I can understand,
or evening.
that I can understand on its own.
It's like, oh, well, you got to do this, you got to this, you got to read. There's just so much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that there's an expectation of the burden of like reading things like comic books or reading a novelization of something.
Yeah.
But the idea of having to watch this series, having watched 10 movies before this,
to
understand the plot, it's a bit convoluted.
It is. It can get messy, like we maybe done says they definitely should have stopped with Avatar even before they started.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way about Avatar. And I think he's talking about the animated series, not the movies.
Yeah.
There are movies that are made, but there was Avatar: The Last Airbender.
And there was also live action, right? Of some
There was, and it was like a fantastic disaster.
Yeah.
It was
was it a movie or a series?
It was an animated Nickelodeon series.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's really beloved. People absolutely love Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot of magical qualities to it.
Yeah,
there's a lot of lessons in there for young people that I think are worth selling or talking about.
Yeah.
But let's look at Avengers. Like what originally worked? It had its clear central Avengers, the first round of heroes. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about the movies.
The movies.
Okay. I get that. A lot of people feel that way. A lot of people have strong feelings about the Avatar movies.
Right.
Because they don't feel like it's adding anything to the cultural, conversation, let's say. So this is Doomsday here.
Mm-hmm.
So what originally worked about Avengers was it had distinctive individual genres inside of the shared universe. There was consistent movement forward in the franchise. So there was some movement for those first 10 years, that first decade.
Mm-hmm.
There was some accessible emotional relationships in there. So we could feel the relationship between like Spider-Man, let's say, and Iron Man, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And audiences understood who the Avengers were, and why their uniforms or why the Union mattered, like why them assembling, right? Because the original thing was like Avengers assemble, and this is this iconic take here, right?
Yeah,
where the camera sweeps around them.
That was
cinema history.
Yeah.
Even if it may seem a little bit goofy now, with the colors.
I think it was.
It was a bit goofy, but it was still iconic because the music, the camera, just making some incredible moves and these impossible backdrops and the city being destroyed. And there was a lot of magic here.
And I think every character has such a distinct, identity to it. And I don't know if that's the case still because I haven't watched the whole, I haven't watched the whole iteration of movies.
I haven't watched every single movie, right? Because I think this is kind of what we're talking about. Because the idea of like checking out, because it starts just to feel like a bunch of CGI versus it being grounded in some, sense of reality.
Yeah.
But I do think so. John Shepard asks, like, how do you feel about the Doomsday trailer? There's a lot of discussion around the Doomsday trailer.
Yeah.
So I mean, I didn't love it. It didn't make me excited. There are sometimes you see a trailer and it does genuinely excite you.
Yeah.
For example, Jessica Chastain's new horror film,
yeah,
Other Mommy. I think there was something genuinely frightening and interesting about that trailer because there were some things in there that felt familiar, but then it was new enough that it felt this is a great, idea to explore.
Yeah.
So but the Doomsday trailer, I just was like. Is kind of it fell right into what you'd expect, which I guess is the problem. Like it didn't come out of left. Like wouldn't it have been magical if it was like so grounded and there was something about it that was just like, oh wow, like they took that effect, but it was like we're gonna take the top CGI moments and we're gonna splice them together.
Yeah,
and we're gonna give you a little bit of nostalgia in there, and it was just like, okay, I'm like, oh, like why am my eyes
right?
Why? Why is that our response? Well, I think the reason why is because it just feels so like hackneyed and like expected and hammy.
Yeah. Maybe even like structured in a predictable way.
John Scott, I think you're right about that. He was saying, I think a lot of people had the same feeling as you. He says all of them are slipping through my hands. It's nice to see Fox X-Men again. John Shepard, I thought the same thing when I saw Mystique. I think that's what you're kind of referring to, right? Because Mystique makes an appearance in there. But the makeup looked weird. Like it looked just kind of like cheapy. So all the superhero flicks are slipping through my fingers except Spider-Man. I just like Tom Holland as an actor. John Scott, that I think, but I think a lot of people do a lot of Spider-Man as well, and I think that that's an enduring property, and that's why Sony keeps having to make movies as well.
Yeah,
because if they don't keep making movies, they'll lose the license to it, and they'll have to hand it back over to Marvel. So Sony bought the rights to the extended Spider-Man universe. That's why they were making Venom and all these different things.
Yeah.
So that the reason why even Madam Web, it was because they have to keep making properties around Spider-Man. Otherwise, they'll lose that piece of the cinematic universe back to full. It'll be full on Disney.
Yeah, and for example, now that we're talking a little bit about Spider-Man, like the Spider-Verse was interesting, you know, because I also think it was like a new medium, and it was like a different version of it, maybe. So I think even that case is interesting to analyze, because it kind of shows how you can maybe reinvent a franchise, or the idea that you have of a franchise.
Was it the animated movie?
Yeah,
like Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
I didn't see that, but I know that people really loved it. There was some good music in there too.
Yeah, it was more like also appealing to a younger audience, maybe, and so I think that's also another thing on their end.
Was that before Tom Holland? I mean, it was like
it was around the time, ago, right? Yeah, I think it was around the time.
I remember that was like around like maybe 8 or 9 years ago. Maybe 10 years ago at this point.
Yeah. So it was from 2018, the animated film.
Okay.
And then when Tom Holland became Spider-Man, it was 2021.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah. So around,
So they've made a lot of movies.
2017. 2017.
All things considered, they made quite a bit of films.
Yeah, 2017, the first film. So it was around the time.
But I think the reason why Avengers, I think the reason why that started to weaken, there was like no obvious emotional center after Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. People love Steve Rogers. That's what is it, Captain America?
Yeah.
So that's why they had a trailer for Doomsday where he's like holding the baby and he's like, Steve Rogers is Captain America again. So it was like trying to return the trust.
Yeah.
Because there was like a clear signaling to the audience, like we know we betrayed your trust, like in terms of who is Captain America. And so it took a lot of, I heard like behind the scenes, like wrangling to get Chris Evans to come back.
Oh, wow.
To be, which means a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it even brought it back, you know, the actor who played Tony Stark. But that was one of the, like the emotional center of Avengers. So there was a sense that we were losing the trust of the audience when there was no more emotional center.
Yeah.
And I think the quantity just started exceeding the audience attention to the amount of the amount of films. And also I think we treat these films with the level of like, they should be precious. So there should be fewer of them. So when there started to be too many, it starts to inherently feel like they're less important.
Yeah.
And the multiverse, you know, reduced the feeling of permanence. Like everything can be rewritten, everything can be retconned. We can go back into the past and we can reinvent this. We can pretend like this never happened.
Yeah, like even passings of the characters. Yeah.
Right. So it takes away the emotional weight of if a character, you know, the beloved character passes away inside of the franchise.
Yeah.
I'll say, oh, don't worry about it. We'll bring it back. We'll bring it back next time. Oh, we're good, bro. We got you, bro. Like, don't worry about it. We'll bring it back. You know, it's like, well, dang, what was that? What was the point of making me go through that?
Yeah, like what are the stakes anymore? Yeah,
hey, it's like funny because people joke about like Titanic 2. Have you seen the fake trailers? They've been on for like forever.
Yeah,
Titanic 2. It's like what? There's no Titanic 2, but the idea of it is maybe equally as absurd. Of the, you know, bringing everybody back after giving this huge. Now, I think there are cases where it's done well because it's like it's making fun of itself.
Yeah.
And I think Deadpool and Wolverine pulled that off. I did see that in theaters. I did think that they pulled that off really well because so much of the movie is making fun of itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like laughing at the absurdity of it was already very like self-aware.
Yeah.
You know, Deadpool's talking to the camera. You know, he's like saying like, you know, ha ha ha, you know, you guys are in on the Joker with me. I think that's pretty clever.
Yeah.
I think that's very clever. And I think they gave Logan a really nice send-off, you know, in that last movie. But that was like a good excuse to bring it back. Now, will the next Deadpool do that for us? I don't know. I don't know if I think there's a lot of mixed feelings around Ryan Reynolds and his wife right now because of all of the controversies in terms of trying to take down people who are not as famous, not as rich, not as well known, not as well connected. there's a lot of damage that was done around that Blake Lively case. I mean, a lot of damage. And I will tell you, just working in Hollywood, like that was disgusting to me. Like I did not like that at all.
Yeah.
And it felt just really wrong to try to drag someone's entire like livelihood, everything they've ever worked for, try to destroy a man because, you know, he directed a movie that they didn't quite like.
Right.
Very, very scary stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Hello, Kiss of Life.
Hurting Ryan Reynolds' overall opinion of like him as a person because he was so heavily involved in that controversy.
Yeah,
and you know, trying to take down the director of It Ends With Us.
Yeah,
but going back to the Avengers, you know, the new heroes were introduced faster than audiences probably could form the attachments to them too. Like that core set of Avengers. And like the way they kind of got their sends off was not, you know, it was kind of lackluster, like with Black Widow.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe everybody get their own movie, but it was like, like it didn't necessarily leave us with this feeling like, oh, I feel like this character got the arc that they deserved. It was kind of like, no, like moving on, you know. I don't know if, you know, did people even, did you watch Black Widow? I know a lot of people just skipped that one.
No. And for that matter, I also didn't watch Thunderbolts, which is supposed to be the new Marvel,
the new Avengers.
Yeah, that
the
new
like the little asterisk,
Avengers,
the new Avengers. Yeah, I mean, how many people can you fit onto a poster? Did you feel that pressure change? You guys, there's a giant pressure change in here.
Yeah,
and like dun dun dun. You guys, this is live, so you guys can interact with us.
Yeah,
I'm like. What's going on? What cataclysmic event is going on? The Avengers are attacking the city outside.
It's the
I think there's like a weather event going on right now.
It could be, yeah.
I feel the pressure. I feel the pressure, not from you guys, but from like literal like air pressure.
Yeah.
You know, there are teases and cameos that become more important than the completed stories. Have you noticed that too? This idea that the after trailer thing is even more important, and then when the character shows up in the actual product, it just feels like, okay, what was the point of that? Like the teaser was more exciting than the actual delivery.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember, did you see the Multiverse of Madness?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember at the very end? There's a teaser of Charlize Theron.
Yeah. Right.
What happened with that?
Yeah. I mean, and that was also another Marvel thing, I think, that like leaving it, hanging it up, for it to build the continuation of the movie.
Right. If you guys are new here, don't forget to like the video, by the way.
Yeah.
Leave a comment. Let us know where you're watching from.
Yeah.
Titanic 1997. Do you like it, Brent? Of course I do. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, iconic movie. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, and I wonder if they even had that plan in advance, you know, like leaving it like there, but at the same time not completing the product. I don't know. It's just like a Marvel thing that was also like created expectations for you to stay in the cinema, and
I think it was a conversation starter too. Yeah. Part of it was like they know that you can impact you at least 10 years ago. You could like you could impact the culture in a meaningful way because it was like, oh wow, there's a celebrity and we're marrying them with this iconic franchise. And I think so much of Hollywood too, just like, you know, there's a lot of talk about like the end of the traditional celebrity.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why that is because just the democratization of all media. So it's like, okay, well, there was nothing all that spectacular about XYZ person anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are plenty of people watching. It's like, you deserve to be a celebrity just as much as that other person. So I think that's where we are in terms of the human existence.
Yeah.
It's like, we do put people on pedestals whenever it feels like they deserve it. Not whenever like the machine says that they deserve it. Right. So I think the end of traditional celebrity is very real. I think everybody watching is probably just as interesting as Angelina Jolie. It's just that you haven't been given that platform to go and, you know, be in movies or to be, you know, I think that everyone is inherently interesting. And if anything, the movies themselves have taught us that.
Exactly.
Some of the best movies ever are centered around the most average people. And it's like, wow, if you took a peek inside, it would blow your mind. It's very fascinating. So everybody has a unique perspective on life. And the movies themselves have made that point.
Yeah.
And so the democratization of media is just this like a natural byproduct of that.
Yeah.
You know? So, and I think viewers, you know, of Avengers stopped understanding what they were building towards. Like, what are we heading towards now? Because you've had all these climactic events.
Yeah.
That afterwards, like, okay, pretend like that didn't happen. So it makes the climax anticlimactic. And it's like, okay, well, nothing really matters. So what's the point?
Exactly. I feel that way.
Yeah. And so people do reduce it to, you don't have to call it this, but a lot of people call it superhero fatigue. But audiences still respond when a superhero story does feel distinct or emotionally sincere. And I think that was the problem with Supergirl, is it did not feel emotionally sincere. And it didn't feel culturally important. And I do think that we haven't figured out maybe you can tell me, Mario, have we figured out how to tell a superhero story around a teenage girl or like an early 20s girl that really works?
I'm not so much into comics, so I mean,
well, it doesn't have to be a comic, but I mean the idea of a hero.
I was just telling you because I was gonna say that I haven't watched that example on film, for example.
That's a really nice theory.
Yeah.
He's saying, is there a possibility that a repetitive big budget flop cycle could be a conduit for money laundering? John Scott, that's a really fascinating theory. Yeah. I don't think that that's probably the case. I think it could turn into that because of them putting themselves into a desperate situation.
Yeah.
I think that we don't need to forget that these big giant corporations, they're just like individuals. It's like they can go bankrupt too. Right. Yeah. So I do know that like they made Batgirl and they just shelved the movie altogether. They just I'm like, wow, that's crazy. It's like they just deleted it. And they spent like, years developing it, filming it, editing it, doing the post-production, the scoring and everything. Do you remember that Batgirl?
Yeah.
And they were just like, yeah, we're just going to pretend it never happened because they knew it wasn't even going to do well, even if they just dumped it onto HBO, Max. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. But at the same time, totally understandable considering what happened with Moana. It's like they would have saved so much money. They just dumped it onto Disney Plus versus spending this $200 million marketing spend on Moana, the live action remake. And it's like, you can look it up. They don't really publish those numbers.
No.
But traditionally it's the budget, right? The budget is traditionally, but I think that they're having to rethink that considering, thank you, Mark Sands, who says, I still can't spell confetti. Are you not spelling it right? Is that not how you spell it? Does it have 2 F's?
I think that's the right spelling, the correct spelling. But thank you, Mark Sands.
Confetti, spaghetti.
Gizmo said, is there such thing as a superhero girl? I mean,
is there such a thing as a superhero what?
A girl? That's like a point, right? Like, because superheroes, like girl superheroes are usually like the opposite of a already established superhero. So let me think about it. But I think
thing is a superhero girl. I mean, yes, like Wonder Woman, right? Like a super.
I think the point is that that's like the opposite of Superman, for example. Like not the opposite, but like the female version of it.
You make a good point. Okay, listen to this. There's an argument about that.
Yeah.
So this is I love this. You guys join the discussion. If you're here, leave a comment. Let us know what your take is on all this stuff. So he makes a really good point. For example, so let's take Superman as an example. Superman, he puts on his glasses and he wears normal clothes. He goes to work at his job at the Daily Planet, and he is Clark Kent. You cannot do that with a woman. You cannot treat it in the same way. Like, all of a sudden, like she puts on glasses and it's like she's not, because so much of the female identity is wrapped up in appearance. So that's a big reason why they can't treat Supergirl in the same way they treat Superman. And mind you, it's always Supergirl, not Superwoman. Not that I care. I mean, on a personal level, I'm like, I don't care. But I didn't feel a compelling reason to go out and pay good money to go see Supergirl. Maybe there was also a level of societal contempt even for Supergirl because there was something about it that just did not feel like genuine. Like, don't superheroes need to have altruistic, ways of being? Why go see someone who's such a reluctant? I mean, I think the reluctant hero is a great trope. That's actually a great trope. But throughout the movie, they were showing us so many clips of it. It was like, okay, obviously this character doesn't even like grow. There's not even like an emotional arc of the character. And I think that was a lot of the pushback, because from the trailer itself, you could tell that there wasn't a sincere story at the heart of it. And an arc for the character to actually have growth and be like, okay, at the end, blah 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 blah. It's like, no, she's like the hungover girl who doesn't care, doesn't wash her hair, and blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, I don't know if that's really compelling to the guys going to the movie theater, or even young women for that matter.
Yeah.
So I don't know who you're really marketing this movie towards. I think it's a bit. I'm like, I don't know who this is for. Like, who is that for? Did you feel that pressure change? My ears popped.
Yeah. Yeah.
As I was talking, you're like, oh, it was just that.
Catwoman said Dagobah Hole.
Catwoman, you got to remember, she's the villain too.
Yeah, she's like a.
She's also like an unwilling villain. She's, you know, and the Tim Burton films, you know, she gets thrown out of her window by her boss, played by Christopher Walken, and she's comes back to life, and her cats are, you know, the cats in the alley are like, you know, licking on her, and you know, so she comes back as Catwoman, because she's like come back as totally deranged and crazy. So I think people forget that. Fun fact about Catwoman is that was an incredible and iconic portrayal by Michelle Pfeiffer. You know, in that original film.
Yeah, Mark Sands even said Michelle Pfeiffer in her prime.
Yeah. Michelle Pfeiffer is, absolutely. And actually, if you think about it, Michelle Pfeiffer is actually kind of the poster woman for great aging, because she's still so charismatic and sincere, and the way she does marketing, I'm just like, dang, like that gives a lot of people hope. And I think that's a good example of what a celebrity should do. Society should look to celebrities and feel inspired by them.
Yeah.
And I think that she does a good job of that. Mario, do you think that you feel like you need homework for watching a new Marvel film? Like, do you feel like you have to like do some research to even understand what it is that you're looking at?
Yeah. And I think that's a big case for franchise movies in general, because like the fact that you cannot watch the story on its own, maybe it's kind of like already like a condition, let's say.
Yeah.
I think it's particularly the case with Marvel, for example, because you need to have like at least reference of what the character is and what's the backstory, maybe. Right. So I think that for me, I definitely need to have like a little bit of preamble to the movie. I think so.
Well, and I think there are some characters that are so ubiquitous with society, we don't need to. We don't need a bunch of backstories, exactly, like Batman, let's say, or Superman. And I think those are like the two big examples: is Batman and Superman. Like they're like everywhere that we know these heroes, and we kind of know what they stand for.
Yeah, but if you but if you talk to me about like the Thunderbolts, for example, I wouldn't know like what that is, you know.
Yeah. I don't think I think a lot of people don't, because a lot of people did not turn out to see that movie. I also think that there was so much after the lockdown, like the world just changed dramatically too, and I think the AI is adding on to that. And we're all just like, we're rethinking everything that we thought to be true.
Yeah.
And I think that this is part of that. But I think there are also like clear things that these franchises are doing. So like, you know, but would you rather have 3 excellent Marvel projects per year, or do you, or like 10 connected ones? Because there was a time whenever it was like they were pumping out so many movies. It was just, I think they started to water it down.
I think so. I think I would definitely prefer to have, I don't know, like 3 to good,
or just one,
or just one good or great movies per year, and not necessarily have, you know, like 10 interconnected.
I think
ones.
A lot of people feel that way. And I think bringing Robert Downey Jr. back, listen, I love him. I love his comeback in terms of just his life.
Yeah,
like I love that you can be down, you know, for the count and come back bigger and better. And so I'm a big fan of Robert Downey Jr. And so I think, but I don't know if it's actually so exciting, and since it's like they gave his character a send off. I think there's so much work inside of him to do outside of the superhero genre. Yeah, that's just me, because I think he's so compelling as an actor in general. Like I don't think you need a superhero movie to make Robert Downey Jr. be it. One of my favorite movies growing up was, you know, Only You. You know, from 1994 or 2. That was a great little film, and Robert Downey Jr. has always been magical to me. He's always had that.
Also, the look.
Do you hear that?
Yeah, it's an helicopter.
Is it an airplane? I'm like, what's going on? You guys, just all this activity outside. Yeah, we're like, no, don't worry about it. There's just a war going on right outside the window. You're all good, bro.
We're good here.
We're good.
That was a helicopter.
Okay. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
Was there anything about the last like MCU that you genuinely loved, or the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Is there anything about it that you genuinely love? in general.
In
So
general,
here's Doomsday, and I think there's something
yeah,
compelling about that. But also at the center, you have this mask, and so
yeah,
it's just like, okay,
yeah. Um, I enjoyed like the original Avengers. Let's say I kind of
Mhm.
liked Captain America particularly, and
Mhm.
I
Which one?
Captain America.
Okay,
Like
Captain America.
the original character. I think
Right,
was interesting. But aside from that, I wasn't even like a great fan from the beginning.
right.
Maybe
Okay.
not even from Spider-Man, let's say, which is like the most beloved one, I think. Um,
Which he's kind of like an adopted Avenger because
yeah,
he was like on his own because of the
yeah,
Sony
the
rights
Sony
issue.
things, yeah. Um, wh- you know what? I take that back.
Darkseid, you're
When I was
hilarious.
little, I liked Spider-Man. As every child does, maybe.
I think
Um,
kids in general. Why is that? Why do you think that they do? Because
I
he's
feel
always on
because
backpacks.
I
It's like,
mean, yeah, I feel like he's relatable from the beginning. Like
yeah.
he's
Oh,
like
and
a
he's a kid
teenager.
too.
Yeah,
He's like
he's
the
like a
Avenger. He's like
teenager.
always a kid.
Exactly. So I think that was also like part of the
Yeah.
appealing factor. Um, but I kind of have missed like a little bit of the Marvel storyline, even.
Yeah. So it's like you don't
Um,
even know where they are in terms of what's going on. Well,
to
with all the
be,
multiverses, who can know, right?
yeah, I
Like who
mean,
can? Who can know? I mean, even there was a. Have you seen that clip of what's her name? The blonde actress, Gwyneth Paltrow.
oh yeah,
Gwyneth Paltrow, she's with John Favreau, and she's like on her
yeah,
cooking show, and she's like, "Remember when we were in Spider-Man?" And she's like, "I wasn't in that." And he's like, "Yes, you were." And she's like, "I wasn't in that one." And he's
uh-huh.
like, "Yes, you were." And she's like, "Have y'all seen that clip?"
No, I
So
no,
John Favreau is one of
yeah,
the big directors.
yeah,
He's I think Tony Stark's like assistant
hmm,
in there, but he's actually a great actor and a director.
yeah.
But there was this exchange with him and Gwyneth Paltrow, and she's like, "I wasn't in Spider Man," and he's like, "Yes, you were." And she's like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "Oh, I totally forgot about that." She's like chopping something on her cooking board.
Oh
But
yeah.
it kind of brings up a good point. It's like even the actors in the movies are like, I don't even know which ones I'm in. I was like, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's pretty kind of hysterical if you think
yeah,
about it.
yeah, yeah,
Like, but it also makes sense because like they're intercutting all these different scenes
yeah.
to make it iconic and be like, isn't that iconic the way we did that? Ha ha ha.
Hmm.
And now it just starts to feel like this kind of weird cameo fest. It's not necessarily having an emotional payoff that feels
Yeah,
meaningful in any way.
yeah, exactly. Because I do remember like back
It's
into
40 movies now. That's wild.
yeah, I do remember like back into 2018, like it was like the big event. Like my friends were going to the theater at 2 a.m. like maybe to watch the Avengers.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the case anymore. I
I
don't
mean, I
know.
guess I guess we know it's not the case for general audiences.
Yeah,
And the question is, can they attract new audiences? I don't think so. Not in that way. I'm not like a hater by any means, but I
no,
think
no, no.
there's something about it losing its sincerity.
I think so. Yeah,
Like
I
what
think so.
there being over 40 movies.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And going back to the case of Into the Spider-Verse, I think that that movie particularly kind of drove in like a new wave of young people who were also relating to that new Spider-Man.
right.
But I think that they are still gonna release like a third movie. I'm not sure when, but I think
Which one?
Into the Spider-Verse, like part
Well,
3. Well,
okay.
because there was like
Of the animated movie.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
like the
that would make
animated movie.
sense.
Yeah, I think that they are going to release a third one. But I think that may have drove like new people to it. I'm not
Sure.
sure
Because
how
it was
many.
something about it that was creative.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm not sure if that's also gonna stick in necessarily to the following Marvel movies, or like
Right.
the following Spider-Man movies.
Mhm.
I know that
Did you say Spider Land?
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I know that Tom Holland also drove like a lot of people. Like he has something to him, maybe too.
I think people really like that young, like innocence.
Yeah,
I think he embodies all of the characteristics that we identify with.
yeah, yeah. Maybe even the
Peter
struggle.
Parker. Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, I
for sure.
mean, it's gonna be interesting to see if those new audiences, stick to the Spider-Man
Right.
franchise or the Marvel.
And John Scott
For
makes a
that
good point. He
matter.
was saying that John Favreau is a fun guy, but he trashed his.
Oh, I missed that.
What did it say?
His own Mandalorian.
Yeah, he did the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah, yeah.
So he actually, people don't realize this, but John Favreau also did the Jungle Book,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the quote unquote
Disney's-
live action, even though it was all CGI.
Yeah.
He did the Lion King.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of work,
Mm-hmm.
and I love the way he actually talks about film. And I think that's where we are. Is you can actually love film, you can love the process of film, and still make big mistakes, because it's also like the mandate from Disney or the mandate from the giant corporation is you need to make this film.
Exactly.
So it's like we have to make this film because this is what the machine is telling me I have to make. So even if you're someone as big as Jon Favreau, I mean, look at Quentin Tarantino. It's like, why is he not cranking out the movies? I think it has to do with, you know, the level of creativity and like what you can deliver, what audiences expect. You don't want to make a movie that you know audiences are going to be disappointed in.
Yeah.
And I think that's why some people like Jon Favreau can be more prolific, and then other people like Quentin Tarantino can treat their work as more precious. That's a great portrait of him.
Yeah.
I need to have someone come in and take our portraits.
Yeah.
Because we have a nice, you know, real life. You guys super chats for portraits.
Yeah, please.
Disney does love him, but he's also like, I think he's actually a good man.
Yeah.
I've worked in Hollywood, and I will tell you, like, people universally talk about like how kind this person is.
I think he's talented, but
yeah,
at the same time, how much can you do with a franchise that is so like already,
absolutely,
I don't know, fabricated? Maybe.
Totally. I think I don't think he had. I don't think there was much to do. I also think it felt like an episode of the television series,
right?
The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Right.
I remember when that was coming out. I remember thinking like, oh yeah, this is not going to work. I mean, there was probably a lot of chatter around the office. And we were just like saying, I don't think that there's necessarily a cultural appetite for this movie, because it feels like a shameless cash grab, right?
Yeah.
Which I think that's okay. Movies are made to make money, but they have to have a soul at their heart.
Yeah.
That really, it's beyond like a puppet.
Yeah.
You know, like this little green little bit.
Yeah, like
you know,
even the new wave of like cute characters that also kind of have like the intention to grab people, maybe. I do have to say though that I watched it and without watching the series, and it was like kind of like a nice standalone story, maybe. I think.
Oh, so you saw the Mandalorian Grogu?
Yeah.
Okay.
So at least I have to give it that.
Yeah, and that's good, and I think that's what they need though. Is in a way. Probably the problem was it was like what they said about RoboCop. They don't call it RoboCop.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why the reboot didn't work. Is because we probably should just call it something distinct.
Yeah.
Because maybe this would have worked because you'd never seen the series, right?
No. So
you saw this as a standalone and it worked for you.
Yeah.
But it was because it's like they should have probably created this as like a standalone story. But if it wasn't existing IP, there's that level of how much do we invest? So there's just constant struggle. But I think I love that's a very honest opinion, saying like I actually enjoyed it. I thought it did have a heart at its center.
It wasn't more that I enjoyed it. It was more about like how I could have understood like the movie on its own. Yeah.
Did you feel like you did understand it on its own?
Yeah, it was that. I mean, it's not bad, but I also see, you know, how it could be considered money grab, for example. You know,
right? Well, it's like, does it deserve a cinematic, place in this place in cinema when so many movies are not getting them?
Exactly.
It's like, why did this get a cinematic release and this other one didn't?
Exactly.
I think there's a lot of questions there.
Yeah. And I can understand if people weren't necessarily, super excited about it too. So,
right. Well, this is what some people are saying, like they need to reduce the output of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Establish 3 or 4 central characters. Okay, don't spread it out too much. Let standalones exist before forcing them to all be interconnected, right? In these universes. Like restore the fact that within these franchises there are actual consequences for what happens. And don't say, oh, just kidding, what happened didn't happen because of the multiverse.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, boo. So restore consequences, because storytelling, there has to be some level of consequence.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the narrative devices are meaningless. It's like, okay, well, it just becomes gibberish. And it also trains our brains to be like, okay, well, I don't really care what it is that I'm watching, because they're going to go back and retcon it anyway, or pretend that didn't happen, or say it was a different multiverse.
Yeah.
And some people are saying that, the fact that they already know their Secret Wars is coming out a year from Doomsday.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, maybe after the Secret Wars, then we need to do a reset.
Doomsday has also been like super expensive, right? Like it's
my gosh. It's like, I don't know, you can look it up. It's probably $350 million.
Yeah.
If not more. It wouldn't surprise me. And I think the reason why it's deserving of a cultural conversation is because even if you're not necessarily a hardcore Marvel fan, it's like that's gobbling up all this money, resources, the actors, the talent, the people dedicated to post-production, pre-production, filming itself. physical production. They're all dedicated to these movies.
Yeah.
And it's like, how much cultural output are we missing out? Because everyone's working on this freaking Doomsday movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's
That's
400,
a legitimate question.
It's 400 million.
Wow. So that means so right now there's Comic-Con is going on right now.
Yeah.
And you can't really judge, you can't judge how many people attend Comic-Con as a factor, because the physical spaces are limited. So it's around 135 to 165,000 people every single year. So it doesn't really dip or go up and down because the physical space is limited anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So even if there was a dramatic fall off, let's say, of interest in Marvel movies, it wouldn't really materially affect Comic-Con, but it would affect like reactions to trailers, let's say.
Yeah.
Or reactions to or people who actually end up in the box office.
Yeah.
Will Doomsday make its money back? I think that's a legitimate question. I think that everyone is kind of probably making bets in Hollywood right now. But we're still months away.
Yeah.
You know, so there's all this marketing to be done. But I think what we've learned is that like sometimes there's enough, like more marketing doesn't do the trick.
Right. Because 400 million is without counting marketing. So
it was without marketing.
Yeah, without
right.
marketing.
So with marketing, it's probably more like,
700 million.
Yeah. But whenever you get to that $400 million range, it's not exactly the budget anymore. It's like, because they know there's no amount of money that you can spend.
Oh, well, that's,
you know what I mean? You can't, like after $200 million, like you don't really spend more than $200 million to market your movie.
Yeah. Because I know a lot of it also went to his salary, like to his.
I think he made like 80 million, something like that.
Yeah, I mean that's also another thing, right? When you have like stars.
I think I think there's something kind of inherently cool that you can demand that much money.
Yeah,
it's like wow, you know, the fact that someone can demand that much money is a testament to their level of charisma.
Yeah,
and I just love his comeback story. Now it reminds me that I think Johnny Depp has the same level of charisma, you know, and I think the way they've kind of assassinated his character is really criminal. And so I'm not going to lie. I think if there was another Pirates movie, I would probably go see it because I do love like but he's coming back as a completely different character, right? Tony Stark is.
Yeah.
So I think that's a bit different. And I think there's change going in the air. And I think we probably need change versus constantly recycling the same characters. I just want to see him in other products because I think he's so freaking talented.
Yeah.
Now let's see what he does with Dr. Doom. I'm not necessarily going to rush to the theater to go buy it because I did not love that trailer. The trailer just made me think like, okay, it's just a bunch of CGI crap. Like, like whatever, blah, blah, blah. Everything's flying around like, you know.
No, yeah. I mean, and it's I think maybe mistaken, but I think that like that's the general consensus, you know,
because we want to be able to have enough on screen that we can latch and give meaning to, like latch onto, and be like, okay, this has meaning. This has meaning. It's like let's just cram in as much as we can, and it's like, okay, there is too much of a good thing, as Shakespeare said. You can't have too much of a good thing, and I think there's too much of CGI, too many characters crammed in, too much nostalgia bait to the point where it just becomes like a hodgepodge and it's confusing. So I think Marvel needs a reset.
Yeah. For me, a reset.
Original trilogy heroes, you know, something.
Yeah.
But you guys let me know. What needs to happen with Marvel? Does it need a reset? Does it need to be?
What's your verdict, chat?
Yeah, I mean, some people, you might say it needs, you know, it gets one last chance for you, you know, in terms of like your, you know, what you're willing to go watch in the theaters.
Yeah.
All right, and then we're gonna move on to Star Wars. So a lot of people think that Star Wars needs a reset because this last trilogy was a bit underwhelming.
Yeah.
And again, like some of these standalone movies are not working. Like Solo didn't work, Mandalorian and Grogu didn't work. And this idea that Star Wars needs to take a break so that it can re-identify with its core audience and also find its core audience, a new audience, up-and-coming audience, and feel authentic, feel like it's really trying to say something. It has something to say. Yeah. Because some of these stories are allegories for life. Some of them are, you know, in Star Wars, there's the Force. There's, you know, the dark side. You know, there's good, there's bad. There's like a clear line, you know, between what is good and what is wrong. And I think there's a lot of stuff for young people to learn from this.
Yeah, I think I think, for example, the case with Star Wars is interesting because it also talks about like traditional intros. Like the original trilogy draws a lot of inspiration from Japanese folklore and like the Bible, for example. So maybe like even those things can make a franchise more powerful if used correctly. And I think the first trilogy achieved that definitely. And but I'm not
it's a
seeing
cultural
that.
behemoth. I mean, it was. I mean, it was like a wow, like it just changed the way we viewed filmmaking altogether.
Yeah. And I'm not seeing that
it was like felt biblical.
Yeah.
It literally felt like a biblical.
Yeah.
Like the original heroes from the first 3 films are so magical. So, it's definitely one of the largest fictional canvases in entertainment. You know, there are ancient civilizations, they've got political eras, there are alien cultures to explore. There are mystical traditions in there. I think that one thing that Dune is doing right is that it's not giving us too much because it's not overcrowding the screen with all these different things. Whereas I think maybe Star Wars is starting to feel that way.
Yeah.
So like Dune, there are space witches, there are there's all these different things that are going on inside of Dune. But if you look at Star Wars, there's just so much going on that perhaps audiences feel a bit, lost.
Yeah.
But the franchise repeatedly returned to the same families, the same iconography, the same visual locations, the same relatively narrow historical period. So I don't think the problem is that Star Wars lacks a universe. The problem may be that it's afraid to leave the part that audiences already recognize.
Yeah.
But Lucasfilms, they announced the theatrical feature, including Star Wars Starfighter, an original adventure scheduled for May 28th, 2027. So mid next year. And that's going to have Ryan Gosling.
Oh, wow.
That creates an opportunity to see whether Star Wars can establish theatrical momentum around characters who are not, extensions of the Skywalker story.
Yeah.
So the Skywalker story is
like the original.
The original, like our original hero, following him.
Like the chosen one.
The chosen one, the one who's,
restored the galaxy's
order. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got it. So I don't know. I think that's a tall order. I think they're going to have to make some really unique decisions in the way that they market Starfighter, because that's also why they haven't marketed it yet. Whereas they've been marketing Harry Potter for over a year now, this series.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of maybe like expectations that are maybe in alignment or not with what the end product is going to look like. Whereas Starfighter, we don't have much to base it off of, because I feel like they're going to have to make some really dramatic choices in terms of the way they market this Ryan Gosling Star Wars.
Yeah.
For it to actually work.
Yeah.
And I think that there are probably some really creative minds that are going to do that. Like this. I mean, it looks almost like Blade Runner here.
Yeah.
Hey, VT Hookah, how are you?
Hello, VT Hookah.
So you guys, VT Hookah is watching from Finland.
Yeah.
Sorry. Lucas Museum and Narrative Arts opens in 2 months at the Exhibition Park at Los Angeles. That's amazing, John Scott.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
John Scott, we should have a meetup there.
Yeah.
We should go.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
John says Starfighter will likely do as bad as Mando, especially as Ryan Gosling is like box office poison.
I think for a while he was. I think some people may be questioning that, because I think that this last movie of his actually performed pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Relatively. I mean, I think it actually performed pretty well. It was a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
That was a book that actually was a bestseller. So did you see Hail Mary?
No. But I knew it was like critically well received.
Yeah, it's him and like this rock monster, and he's like in space. The sun is dying inside of this movie.
Is that the one that doesn't have dialogue?
That's right.
I think so.
That's right. He calls him Rocky because he's like a rock.
Oh, okay.
And so there's like this relationship going on between him and the puppeteer. And so there were some people kind of praised that. But it's interesting because we keep putting Ryan Gosling in space because he played the astronaut.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah.
But I think Star Wars, it works for its mythic simplicity, the clear moral and emotional stakes. It had a revolutionary production design, absolutely. Distinctive sound and music.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Star Wars, Lucasfilm created Industrial Light and Magic and THX sound came out of Star Wars. So it literally invented new technology to make these films work. They had archetypal characters. They had spiritual ideas presented through accessible adventures. But I think Star Wars started to lose trust whenever they lacked a unified plan across like the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
And like the familiar iconography, like using Princess Leia and Luke Harrison Ford, and some of these characters kind of felt like a shameless, reuse of the actors versus like actually making them a narrative point.
Yeah. And I feel like the concept of the force, even, which is important for,
because you're on a live and you have to cough and you're like, because when you're like, when you're on a live video and so you're like, was he struggling over there? I'm trying to cough on them. Maybe I don't need to.
No, because even the concept of the force, maybe for me, in my opinion, because this is a franchise that I grew up with and everything, and I think that even that was like misinterpreted, let's say, or not guided through the right direction. But I do agree that maybe there's also like a lot of lack of even iconic characters in these new versions, in these new movies, and I don't know. I mean, Disney's business model is obviously also dictating like a lot of the way in which Star Wars is moving, but at the same time, I wonder if the characters that they are giving the attention to are like as big or as iconic. So maybe it's even a matter of what the audience wants to see. Actually,
I think that a lot of people lost trust with like the Skywalker. Whenever we found him again, he had like lost his way, and like he was no longer. He didn't believe in the ways of the Force and all these different things. And I think that idea of taking your hero and like stripping him down to this kind of bare bones like lost man trope actually makes people feel like more fatalistic than inspired. And I think Star Wars should inspire us. It should make us feel like the awe and the wonder. And I don't think people appreciated the way we found Luke Skywalker kind of alone on a planet, be like, "Oh, I'm doing my own thing. I don't care anymore." And it's like, really?
I think so.
I think it maybe feels, on its surface, like an incredibly daring thing to do, to make him throw away the lightsaber and be like, "I don't care." But holistically, it maybe feels like a shock value thing to do. And I think it ended up hurting like the Skywalker, the later trilogy, these last three films, which I think felt people didn't quite love. So, some people say like, does Star Wars need to go like 100 years into the past or 100 years into the future? Like get away from the Skywalker storyline to help us understand the universe a bit better.
I mean, before Disney also got the deal, I think that there was a very interesting expanded universe of Star Wars, like an official expanded universe that had like a lot of interesting stories. And I think in my opinion, it was like a little bit of misdirection to also ignore that altogether, because I think Disney went out and said like, no, that's not like official story, let me create my own story, which is logical, but at the same time there was a lot of inspiration from there, I think, and some interesting characters too.
There's debate too, and as to whether like Star Wars even belongs on on series. I could argue that that you don't need Star Wars in any type of series, because it may be like watering down the soup. It may feel like you're actually hurting something that feels like it's preserved for the theaters, and like it can later go into a platform or later go into physical media or streaming. But just by having all these different series, it's like it loses also its core, like this larger audience that it can discover. If people feel like, oh well, you have to have seen this and that, and it's like, okay, well, I'll skip it. And I think that was part of the reason why people skipped Mandalorian and Grogu, is because I haven't seen all those series, so I'm not going to get it, so I'll skip it. And like you said, maybe it does actually work on its own, but just from knowing what you kind of assume that you're not going to understand, so you don't go see it.
Right. Gizmo says, Brent, do you feel that Mark Hamill's political beliefs had anything to do with the way he is received by the audiences today?
No, because I actually don't know his political beliefs. I would assume they're the same as like most of Hollywood, I guess. So I would say no, because I don't know what his political beliefs are. And the fact that I don't know is indicative to me that they've done a good job of that not being a central like plot point in terms of like marketing. But I think that's a really good question, Gizmo. But some people say like, maybe we need to like abandon the Jedi, altogether and go explore different parts of the galaxy. But I think if you abandon the Jedi, it's like, okay, well then what's the struggle? What's the key conflict?
Because at least for me, that was the issue with the Mandalorian as well. Because I love seeing the Jedi's and
Were
like
there
the
no Jedi in there?
lightsabers, and there were no Jedi on
No Jedi.
Mandalorian.
Oh,
So
you poor thing.
that's an interesting
Did you
thing
did
too.
you leave with your little tear come down your
You
eye?
know,
You're
maybe
like,
I'm just like it's just like my kid's mind wanting to watch like fights between lightsabers. You know.
Yeah, I love the sound effects. Listen,
Yeah.
there's a lot to be said about like the charisma, the
Yeah.
energy, the how fantastic it is to fight with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
And the fact that there was maybe a missed opportunity to include some of that.
Yeah.
I think that's legitimate.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a Star Wars fan.
Right. Right.
But some people say like maybe Star Wars is actually lacking like the mythic clarity that was in the first trilogy. That what made the first Star Wars films feel so freaking biblical.
Yeah.
Like prophetic,
philosophical.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe it needs to become more character driven.
Yeah.
And maybe just do it exclusively to the theaters.
Yeah. Yeah.
What should the Force maintain like mysterious, or should they like I'm like what is the Force? Do we do this to this day?
I think it's I think it might be like the thing that it's like the what was the thing called, like the things
force?
that the Greek used to,
the mana.
Yeah, something like that, something that like a placeholder for like explaining universe.
Yeah.
I think that was what it was at the beginning, and then maybe it became more like a philosophical core almost. Like
I would love to have the Force. By the way, don't forget to like the video. I'm using the Force for you guys to like the video. I'm using the
mind
Force.
control.
The Force.
But I do think that the concept of the Force was watered down by Disney.
Yeah.
Because it also was like a way to explain how characters got out of things, like, oh, I'm controlling you now so you can set me free and whatever. But I do think that that's like an easy way to interpret the Force. I'm being like a Star Wars fan right now.
Right. I think it's interesting.
But I don't know, I think it was a watered down version of it because it kind of made an excuse for the characters to advance the plot, maybe. Because since the Force is something that's not as explained, as clearly explained, that's kind of what made me feel that the Force was misinterpreted in the Disney version, for example.
So you think that like they kind of twisted up or contorted what the actual Force was?
Yeah, I think so.
And when it came into play?
Yeah, I think they made it simpler. Let's say like they made it more approachable to.
It's almost like gravity or magnetism.
Yeah, to even the common,
pull things towards you, away from you.
Yeah, to even the common Star Wars, villager.
Yeah,
because the idea of Star Wars, I think it's also like the chosen one, and like you're special because you are, you have this in you. And by telling that the Force can be achievable to anybody, that's kind of like it was that way.
You don't have to be a Jedi. It's like anyone can use the Force.
Yeah, that was kind of like okay.
You're like, okay, yeah, yeah. It's again, you make a good point. I mean, absolutely.
Again, like explaining everything to like having no rules anymore, maybe.
No, you're right, because it's like the magic of any franchise or of any universe. It's like there are some key elements to it. So once you start to mess with those key elements of the universe, then the whole thing can fall apart because it's so integral to what the thing is. It's how you define it.
Yeah.
So do you guys think Star Wars could exist?
I mean, let me know your thoughts, guys, because maybe I'm just being petty for no reason.
Yeah.
But let me know, guys.
I think Star Wars doesn't suffer from a small universe because the universe is quite large.
Yeah.
But it suffers from like maybe leaving like its safest corner of the universe, which is like the Skywalker corner of the universe. And they listen. I think it's a complex issue. You guys, let me know what's your favorite and least favorite thing about Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think the OG fans feel very strongly about Star Wars.
Yeah.
And they have a meaningful reason to do so. But this represents the remakes on the left are I guess the actual timeline, episode 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Right? Is Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
And then you have Skywalker, Princess Leia, and Han Solo here in the center. And then you have the latest trilogy.
Yeah.
The latest trilogy, there's something that's like fantastical about the filmmaking itself, but I don't necessarily think that the stories fully landed. They made like the most money, but I don't think that's because ticket prices were the most,
And it was like the coming back, right?
After this like long pause.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's I think it may need to like it's a reset, you know.
John Shepard says, hopefully they have scrapped the new Ray lead Star Wars trilogy. I mean, I think a lot of people feel that way. Yeah.
Is it where the girl is the lead?
Yeah.
They're actually like talking about making more of those.
I haven't heard it to be quite honest.
I think they've taken such a long break; it'd be hard. There's Daisy Ridley, right?
Yeah, Daisy Ridley. Yeah, that's right.
So the next one is DC Universe.
DC.
So,
yeah.
I think that one needs a reset, but it's also currently a tempting one, right? With DC has been struggling for a long time.
Yeah.
The DC Universe has been struggling for a while. I remember even whenever Marvel was, at its heights, DC was kind of fumbling. Now, it's interesting because the Christopher Nolan era, that's you don't even consider it DC,
right?
Because they weren't necessarily universe building at that point.
No.
Like they weren't like trying to build an entire universe. It was just like let's make these three iconic films.
Yeah.
But then when Marvel was like, okay, the universe, there was this idea where everything has to be an extended universe
or interconnection, maybe. Yeah. I do feel that they were having like some sort of creative vision there.
Absolutely. There was a lot of like division inside of the DC universe.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of what they should do.
And then again, like the influence of Marvel, I think it also kind of shaped the way we interpreted like universes even,
Absolutely. It's like, how much do we actually need?
Yeah. And like the idea of the multiverse, right? Like where everything is interconnected. I think that's also, it can be damaging in my opinion.
Damaging in sense it's kind of like when you're on a live stream, it's like you have to fill every minute with like content. It's like trying to create so much.
Because I do think that we need movies that stand, on its own and not necessarily have to think theories about how that interconnects to another movie, or character altogether. So
yeah, I think you also lose like the preciousness of something, whatever. Because I think that I don't want to say the word, but the squad. That was very like the content. Like people did not really that one. It's almost like it's culturally forgotten. Isn't it wild?
I was gonna tell you. Even though there's that exists.
Do you guys know what I'm talking about? The squad.
Yeah.
The DC squad where they had Jared Leto play the Joker.
Yeah.
I think that's like culturally forgotten because it just felt like, okay, that was a mistake. We're just gonna move on. Nobody look.
Right.
Pretend put your blinders on. Pretend it didn't happen.
Nothing happened here.
Because I remember thinking, even the marketing for that, I was like, "What is this?" I was like, I don't know what it was. Maybe the audience can let us know. What was it about the squad?
Yeah.
Now was that James Gunn? Who did those? Or was it Zack Snyder? I'm having a brain burp. I can't remember. It's like that era. It got collectively wiped from the collective consciousness.
So it was David Ayer for the first movie.
Okay.
From the 2016 movie.
Okay.
But it wasn't like even maybe like not even a recognizable name, let's say, for example.
Yeah. But I think it has like, I don't think people are necessarily like, I think Christopher Nolan does demand the cultural attention, let's say. But I think the series can, if it's DC, I think it can theoretically live on its own, but having an iconic director.
Yeah.
I think that the marketing materials, they'll speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Just the way one scene is shot tells us so much about the director, tells us so much about the creative vision that they have.
Yeah.
So like this, I don't know. It just kind of looks like a mess.
I
get what they're going for there. And the idea of not putting Will Smith in the center, I think was like a creative decision. But I think, Mark Sands makes a good point. He's like, I always say that Heath Ledger, Joker, best on-screen presence ever. Yeah. I think also that he's like a case study though, in like getting too much into character.
Yeah.
Like how much do you invest in the character to reach to, you can like lose your sense of self.
Yeah.
You know?
He's an interesting case. Yeah.
He is. And I think that, he's so beloved and I love him as an actor, and he commanded a lot of emotional resonance on screen and attention.
Yeah.
And just all of the movies that he was in, it was like, wow, this dude is incredibly magnetic. But this here, that feels like less. So this is great. Yeah. I also thought it was a really interesting choice to use Anne Hathaway for Batgirl. But I also remember thinking too that it was like the social media had already been around for around 10 years.
Yeah.
or a little over 10 years, but really like mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking like they cast her because she's like the most famous woman in the age group who's got like, who's she's like, you know, because I remember thinking like this is like the Odyssey. It kind of feels almost like lazy casting, only using stars.
Yeah.
It's like the Nancy Meyers method.
Yeah.
It's like by only using stars, you know that your movie is gonna do perform at a certain level.
Yeah.
But in the age of where the celebrity is meaning less and less, how much does that continue to work? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do think these Christopher Nolan films are incredible. And that they live on in my memory. Whereas like the Squad movies, it's like, I'm like, what was that about? What happened there?
Right.
So I think there's a level of realism that can translate into sincerity for the audience member.
Yeah,
if you guys are new here, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, everyone do it now.
So yeah, Mario's like, do it now. Do it for Mario, you guys. So this, I think there's a lot of potential here, but there's something about the muted color tones.
Right.
The lack of, you know, obviously it didn't, even Birds of Prey, the spin-off movie for Margot Robbie's character didn't work.
Right.
But I do think that Hollywood understands that you can have a star in her hands who has the potential to later go on and do a Barbie movie and, you know, have it make over $1 billion and still come back from a movie like Birds of Prey, which so many people just said, you should have called it, you know, Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
You know, but they moved away from that. But it also came out during the lockdown and everything. So that was difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. And for example,
Mark says, what do you mean though? Because I'm curious. Like, because when people say blah blah blah, are they saying like it wasn't good? I mean, I think you could make that argument.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Mark Sands?
And DC struggling as well because the Superman movies are not like the dinosaur movie, the last Jurassic Park movie made way more than Superman. And in some ways, you would think that Superman has the cultural weight to be to pull in that, you know, that same level of audience. But Superman, it didn't. It wasn't like it didn't bomb. It wasn't like a catastrophic failure. But I think in terms of what they thought it could do, it didn't. You know, there was an expectation there for a while that every superhero movie would make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think that I think it barely cracked 700, if that.
Yeah.
700 million.
Yeah.
And on a budget of like almost 400 million.
Yeah.
And then, you know, so Batman I think Batman is in some ways more popular. And I don't know why that is. I think it has to do with like the origin story, because maybe it's like more human. The fact that Batman is like a traumatized little boy.
Yeah.
And then we can then somehow, you know, relate to that more.
I think, I mean, it's an interesting character, right? Like he also had like these.
We can all identify being freaking traumatized, right, guys?
Yeah, like this moral gray area, for example.
Right, because he's essentially a vigilante.
Yeah. And there's like the fact that he doesn't like off his characters.
Right. He literally Superman doesn't like straight up off people. But Batman does. He's like, no, like I'm on Andy, bro.
Yeah.
Like there's, you know, like ultimate vengeance for Batman.
Yeah.
So Batman, but there are also like opportunities where he was with the Joker and he doesn't do it, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's also like it was very minuscule, like the amount of time he had to do the deed.
Yeah.
Because the Joker was always like a couple of steps ahead of him.
Yeah.
Those movies are really iconic. They really just were.
They are. Yeah.
I remember, you know, so many people just becoming like immediate like fans of Batman from the Christopher Nolan films themselves.
Yeah.
So this is the new Matt Reeves Batman.
Yeah.
Which I think is it's interesting because when I was walking into the theater, I was like, "What is that song?" And it was Nirvana.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, or was it the way the movie started? It was like very like very like bizarre. And I remember like I didn't like love it when I first saw it, but it's growing on me because I was like, well, you know, I get it. You know, they've got to reinvent it in some way. Maybe it's because I also, you know, I'm like a lot of people. I see him in Twilight and I see her in. She was in the Divergent series.
Yeah. I enjoyed this Batman. I enjoyed it.
I just saw the Clayface trailer like yesterday.
Oh,
so there's a Clayface trailer.
Yeah,
and that's part of the DC universe. I don't know if I like love the trailer. I think that it's very thought provoking. Like it definitely like opens up your mind up to like what it can be.
Yeah.
But I'm not necessarily like a Clayface person. But John Shepard, I think that we'll see. Do you think Clayface is going to make a lot of money? It says Batman Part 2 is now 2028. Really?
Yeah, they've been pushing it.
You're kidding me. What?
I think February.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
There's so much that's going to happen. in the world by then.
Yeah, this movie
so much has happened since we just started this live stream, guys.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like so much happens in the world in such a short period of time in today's world. I think that's such a gamble. I guess it makes sense. Maybe they're reshooting the whole thing. I mean, that gives you enough time to reshoot the whole movie and edit it.
Yeah. Yeah, put it together back.
I mean, 100%.
Yeah.
Like you can literally make the entire movie in that period of time. Maybe that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they already shot it.
I mean, they already had hints of it in their
There's Me, you guys.
first movie, which was 2022, I think, the first movie. And then I don't know what happened. But I saw that they were pushing it further.
That's very fascinating. I think that kind of stuff is kind of intriguing to fans. But I think you can kick the can down the road so much that people may forget what the first part.
No, yeah, because I was also excited for it when I saw the first one, and I was like, oh yeah, but then I'm like, well,
Dag, you're funny.
Yeah.
I mean, Dag makes a good point though, because he's referencing my little nephew who's 14, and I guess it's like a joke. He's like saying that like by the time the movie comes out, he'll be old enough to play the character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which that's a good point, Dag Overhaul.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. So, and then also Wonder Woman, the fact that Wonder Woman, I did feel, I actually feel for the directors. I don't ever just go on trash stuff.
No.
But like the Wonder Woman sequel, 1984, I remember how disappointing that was for audiences.
Yeah.
And, they have all this time to do the pre-production, the production, the development of the script itself. And they have these iconic properties. In some ways, if you're an independent filmmaker, I do think it makes you feel better because you're like, oh, okay, well, like even the biggest of the biggest studios are getting it wrong again and again.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's kind of like as a little guy, you're like, well, what do I do in my film? I'm going to be a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And so there's this mixed feeling of like it has to be IP, and then the other flip the side of the coin is like, but even your IP can fail. But I don't know, maybe on some level that was like satisfying because it's like, okay, these big iconic properties can fail, but that also means it's like, well, then anything can fail, but in a way anything can and has. So I think 1984 was probably a missed opportunity to expand on the original story of Diana, and I think Gal Gadot maybe was overestimated in terms of her ability of dramatic ability. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to put it on her.
I agree.
But I do think there was like, give me the stone. I mean, like there's some memes where it's like saying like, did they really use that take?
That's a very famous clip.
Yeah, dog, give me the stone.
Yes,
and it's like not, but that wasn't just that one clip. There were probably several moments of the movie that just felt like this is not compelling.
I think DC has been like more actively tried to have like individual things inside this franchise. For example, they had like the style for Wonder Woman, which was like this saturated colors and everything, and then
I prefer more colors than to completely muted color tones.
And I think that they were also trying to create this identity between like characters, let's say, because the Zack Snyder's version of it was also like more dark and everything.
Yeah, the Snyderverse. The Snyderverse is very controversial too because they ended up giving him his own world, like Rebel Moon on Netflix, which like people just universally forgot it ever happened.
Yeah,
because it just didn't feel like.
Yeah,
don't you think it's kind of fascinating that he was given so much money? To move on and create this whole new world. It was going to be like the Star Wars of Netflix.
Exactly.
And it was literally just like nobody cared. That blew my mind. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. Go on.
So I just have to give that to DC. I think that they are trying at least to have like more visual identity, let's say, or some differentiation between eras. Which may not be the case precisely for some other things. For example, Star Wars or Marvel, let's say.
Yeah.
So I have to give them that to DC. But I was also shocked,
I do. Yeah. Are you saying that on like they're more creatively dangerous?
I think
and
so.
Like, I think they are.
Yeah.
I think they are. Most of their movies are darker than the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
But I think this poster is even more colorful than the film, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
But because it was the 80s. And the 80s is about being like loud and like big hair. really daring outfits and makeup.
Yeah.
Shoulder pads. They're kind of leaning into the 80s vibe.
Yeah.
Right. By the way, you guys don't forget to like the video if you're here.
Right.
Um.
Yeah, and the Snyderverse was like completely.
I don't think the Snyderverse was a failure. I think on some levels there were mistakes. But I don't like. I don't want you to kill my Superman.
Right. Yeah. And then even the James Gunn versions movies have been, like towards the blue collar and everything. So I think the visual identity may be there, and I think
you
that's
make a
important.
Good point. Like the idea, like humor plays to like the social strata of your audience. Let's say.
Yeah.
So it's like the idea of like James Gunn. It was actually a clear cut to like the blue collar worker almost.
Yeah, I think
like
so.
To your everyday man.
Yeah,
that's a really insightful point, Mario.
And I think I have to give them that to DC at least, that they were trying to create like more differentiated visual identity between films, between like eras, let's say. And I think that's interesting for a franchise to have like like different versions and everything.
I think it's like the Bible. It's like there's multiple interpretations of the source material.
Yeah,
and there were different ways to tell the same story in a meaningful way.
Yeah,
I think. But at some point, it's like, does it start to feel disrespectful?
Right. I mean, at the same time, it's like it's not working at the end of the day. So, like, what's up with that?
What's up with that? That's like that's a podcast. What's up with that? What's up with that? That was actually a Saturday Night Live skit when they were like, did you say a glitch there? I was like, no. It was a Saturday Night Live skit where it was like, what's up with that? And they were kind of analyzing on the show, like, what's up with that?
Right.
Like the most random of things.
Valid question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah. But I think you make a good point. It's like they've tried lots of different things. I remember seeing The Flash in theaters.
Oh,
and I remember being like, what? I was like, well, this is so, like, because it did start to feel like, oh, y'all cannot come back from this mess. And because there was all this controversy around its star.
Oh my gosh.
And then when the movie came out, it was like, because they were so like, I remember just as a talent manager, I was like, the actor is so talented. I was like, he's going to carry this movie across the finish line. But when I saw that movie, it reminded me that it's like, no, you have to have a strong script. Everything has to really be there.
Yeah.
Because that movie just was like, blah. Like, I don't even remember anything.
I was gonna tell you that I'm sorry, but I forgot about it. And I liked him. I also think
he's on an individual level. He's really compelling and very interesting. And you're like, you know what? This should serve us something very fascinating, a really good reinterpretation of the Flash.
Yeah.
But it was just like one scandal after another. And then when the movie came out, I actually didn't let that affect my ticket purchasing. I just went in and I saw the movie, but I was like, I don't remember anything about it. I literally don't remember anything about the Flash. So what does that tell you? I don't see people talking about that movie. It didn't have a cultural impact. Whereas we're still talking about Batman Begins 20 years later, 21 years later.
I mean, now that you mention it, the only thing that I remember was also like the criticizing to the special effects.
It was some of it was like hammy, considering that the actor actually had like the chops to probably deliver something that felt a bit deeper.
Yeah.
I mean, he like kidnapped somebody during the marketing of this movie. I mean, I was like, what is going on?
Right,
I was like,
right.
I'm like, this movie needs to be prayed over. Mark Stan, do you want to come in to give us a super chat? I thought this movie needed some help. It says color was a good reaction to put Tim Burton on DC movies.
Right.
Oh yeah. I mean, Tim Burton he's magic. And whenever he did the Batman movies, that was in his magic era. Like he really brought magic. There wasn't CGI yet. And the magic was this is before Alice in Wonderland. This is before Dumbo.
Yeah.
Like he was like pure, everything was in camera magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Shepard, you're not wrong. Yeah, you're right. He says that the main character ended up becoming like, after you saw all the different things, you're like, well, yeah. I mean, it's like someone can be talented and be like deplorable,
I mean, I like him as an actor,
I do too. I think as an actor, he's very compelling.
Yeah.
And what really did it for me was, I think, Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Yeah, exactly.
I was really, taken by that.
We need to talk about Kevin.
When you talk about Kevin, absolutely.
So,
but I think on an individual basis, it was like a lot of people were like, I am not supporting this.
It's
because there was, there's a lot of weird stuff going on.
It's like you cannot ignore the scandal at the end of the day, which is
why I actually did ignore the scandal, and I still went to see the film. But I think most people did not.
Exactly, like talking from like the PNR standpoint, maybe. Yeah. That's like a niche, like that's like a hard
PR. Yeah, PR. There's P&A, which is not really a common term, but that's prints and advertisements. But PR,
yeah. Like I mean, maybe that's like a hard thing to ignore whenever.
Well, and it turned into a hard pass. Yeah, people were like, "No, I'll pass. I'll skip that one."
Yeah.
I don't think it actually bombed as hard as it could have, though.
Right.
Because I think it just didn't end up making its money back, because it needs to make its money plus marketing. So it needs to make at least double, if not triple. And the reason why triple is because half of the money anyway is going to the theaters. So you have to calculate that in. So it's like you need to make 3 times your budget. Misfires, it kind of starts to look like a mess. And right now DC is still kind of like going through it, right? And also I think the expectations are really, really high for these types of films.
Yeah,
it requires so much, money, but it's because there's so much money up front. You've got to pay all these people, and so if someone tells you you're going to play Superman or you're going to play Wonder Woman, you've got to pay them. Because there's an expectation that movie is going to perform. Yeah. Maybe there's not, as we're entering, into the second half stage of the 2020s.
Yeah.
Maybe that expectation is going to be gone in a few years. Where it's like, no, boo, like we don't know if this movie is going to work.
Right.
There was a scandal around the first Wonder Woman because they paid her $300,000.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm very thankful for that. But then they paid her a bunch of money for the sequel, and the sequel flopped.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark Stans. Mark Stans is like, I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night.
Thank you, Mark Stans.
Thank you so much. But DC it's just wild how, The Flash was like, whenever I was like, wow, things are going spectacularly bad.
Yeah.
For them. But I felt for them. And I think that there's so much creative attention that actually does, and love that goes into these films.
Yeah.
Even when there's a misfire.
Yeah. John Scott mentioned Black Adam, and now I'm also remembering that was a complete,
I saw that in the theater.
Miscalculation. I don't know how to call it.
It wasn't miscalculation. It was a misfire. It was, I remember this at the end. I remember looking in the theater. I remember looking around because I was so kind of pissed.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the movie, I'm like, he's literally fighting like this devil. And I was just like, am I really watching this? It just felt so hammy. Yeah. I was just like, I remember looking around in the theater. I was just like, and people were so disappointed. People were like, what is this?
Yeah.
Because it didn't have like a narrative payoff. It didn't actually, and the movie is so forgettable.
Yeah.
And you have to have an emotional, weight to a movie to feel like it has a soul.
Yeah. That's like a big part of it too. So I didn't watch this one, to be honest. I'm not super excited.
Like you have to admit, you're like, to be honest.
Right. I don't know if there are any Black Adam fans out there, right, watching us. But like I'm not super excited either to go watch it now necessarily.
I don't think many people are going like rushing to the theater to go back and watch Black Adam.
No.
Because I think it just didn't work, because we were clearly out of the. What's interesting is they put on there like 4 stars.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, that's so interesting that it's like, instead of saying like electric, dynamic, amazing acting, they're like 4 stars.
Yeah.
They're not even 5. You know what I mean? Like from some random reviewer.
Yeah.
I think that there was a lot of opportunity there. Listen, they had access to, what's his name? The older guy. He's in I'm drawing a blank. He's in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Pierce
Brosnan.
Yeah.
That's an iconic actor to have access to. To be, But I do remember there was a reveal where he like turns out to be like the villain.
Oh yeah.
But he wasn't the main villain, so it was just kind of like, I was like, what's going on here?
Okay. Yeah. So, Kiss of Life says the investors must be crunched like my money. Yeah,
absolutely. It's terrifying whenever you invest in something and it doesn't pay off.
Yeah,
and you've spent $300 million on it. Yeah, especially when you see something before it hits the theaters and you've done everything you can to it to make it the best version of itself.
Yeah,
and I think that with filmed entertainment, that's That's how it is. It's the same with almost any product.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much that can be done with it, and then you have to like send it off to the universe for it to take that
bloom.
goal. Mark Sands, thank you.
Thank you, Mark Sands.
But I think it's what's gone wrong with DC is, again, like these different shared universe, they don't match up. There's continuity issues. The executives react to the short term reception of the films, and so they keep changing who is at the head of the ship. And so the attempts to imitate Marvel's, Marvel is like probably what's weakening DC's own identity, is the fact that it's actually trying to replicate. In some ways, maybe Marvel should on purpose be radically different. It feels like it's radically different, not on purpose, but as a mistake of like it's trying to be Marvel, but it's not succeeding at it.
Yeah.
Versus it's saying, okay, we're going to make a creative decision to be our own thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's part of the issue there.
Yeah. John Shepard said, The Rock is flopping a lot right now. We will see how well Jumanji 3 does.
It's a really good point. If you guys are new to the stream, you guys don't forget to like the video. It helps us out a ton.
Yes.
But yeah, I listen, anytime an actor is like flopping like that, it does make you have an identity crisis. You question your ability, I think it has to do with changing tastes, changing times, what we're willing to spend our money on, and also what just feels like a money grab. And I also think that with the democratization of media, we all deserve a seat at, we all deserve some, recognition. And I think that that's what's happening with social media, is that people have a voice that maybe didn't have one before.
Yeah.
Or it felt like they were completely shut out of the debate.
Yeah.
And so these YouTubers, like I'm quite impressed with these YouTubers who can really, like, the minute a movie comes out, they'll go see it, and like they're already at home. Within 30 minutes, they've already made a video about it, breaking down what they felt, like how they betrayed the audience, let's say, or how they betrayed the original lore of the Star Wars, or Star Trek, or Jurassic Park, whatever it may be. And I do think that the last Jurassic Park was actually quite good, because it kind of moved away from the central, the characters. It was more about like them interacting with the dinosaurs. They weren't tied to the legacy characters. And so I think that that's why they picked up Scarlett Johansson to continue the Exorcist legacy, because she's a good, like, kind of almost like a spinoff type person.
Yeah.
But I think DC, maybe they do need one connected universe where, like, because I think that it's been all over the place. But I think the problem is they need their Iron Man, because Iron Man was the movie that really set the stage for Marvel.
That's a good point.
It really was, because they tried to do like the Hulk before that, I think, with like, what was his name? From Fight Club.
Yeah.
He's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah. Not Mark Ruffalo, or
now Mark Ruffalo was the new Hulk, but the original Hulk there was a movie with a very famous actor from Fight Club. What's his name? They're gonna say it in the chat. They know who I'm talking about.
Let us know, guys.
It's not Brad Pitt, but the other guy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just drawing a blank.
Chili Palmer.
No. Ed Norton, thank you. We may be doomed.
Yeah.
Thank you. My hat is off to you.
Thank you.
We may be doomed. Yes. Great username. All right. So he was the original Hulk, but that movie didn't work. And you know who directed that was Ang Lee.
Oh.
Who did Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah. Oh,
and
right.
They rebooted it, and they did it with they made it with Mark Ruffalo.
John Shepard says, DC's biggest problem has always been trying to catch up to Marvel, and now that's impossible. I don't think they know how to build a functioning universe.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
That's a great point. And I think that they had the opportunity to do it with maybe Wonder Woman, and obviously with Superman, and with these different characters, but they all just feel like one-offs. So any crossover, I think the Snyderverse was the last it felt kind of cohesive. I also think one of the biggest mistakes that they ever made was by firing Henry Cavill. I think Henry Cavill was an amazing, like Man of Steel. Someone said it in the chat. They were right. It was like, oh, that was amazing. Man of Steel was an incredible film, standalone film.
He really was like a Superman, like
he embodied Superman. He was like everything.
His look,
like it was, I mean, people love him.
Yeah.
Like everybody loves Henry Cavill, and I think there's that meme. It's like nobody's perfect, but then there's Henry Cavill.
Right.
Like I get that. I get it.
Yeah.
But I think DC probably does need one connected universe. It's just hard to reset post Henry Cavill, and post some of these other flops that have happened.
Yeah.
And it's so disjointed. Like The Flash, it feels like it has nothing to do with Superman.
Yeah.
Like it just feels like it's its own random movie with a bunch of weird colors and crap.
Yeah.
But the Batman movies, those kind of exist on their own.
Yeah.
Like even the Matt Reeves Batman, and also all these flops from DC. That's indicative to me that that's probably why they kicked the can down the road in terms of the next Batman coming out in 2028. Yeah, Man of Steel is incredible. If you guys are just not joining the live stream, don't forget to hit the like button. But Man of Steel was wonderful, and also there's something really beautiful in the simplicity of this poster. Like it's not over promising. In fact, it's under promising and over delivering.
Yeah,
because the movie, they've got great actors in there. I mean, his mom is Diane Lane. She's incredible. Like I love Diane Lane. She's one of the best actresses ever.
Yeah, she's good.
I'm so convinced anything she does.
Yeah.
And there's probably a lot of room for them to do animation as well outside of the live action films.
I think so. But again, it's a matter of how the audience will also respond, and that's maybe unforeseeable, but at the same time you cannot see like the indicators.
Right. Mario, do you think that they should prioritize directors or continuity?
Oh, oh, that's a good question. Let me think about it. I think for gosh.
In some ways, some people may say it's the same thing.
Yeah. I would say maybe let's prioritize directors, but in the way that they giving
like
them
Matt Reeves in a way,
like giving them creative freedom, like for example Christopher Nolan. I mean, that's like the first example, right? Like that comes to my mind because he created such an iconic and easily recognizable thing with Batman. And then that also allowed him to have some sort of continuity that was also very maybe restrained in the way that it's was just for like 3 films,
right?
Which was also a good thing.
That's a good word,
opinion.
Restrained. Like it was before like the CGI explosion.
Exactly.
Like there was CGI, but it wasn't. It was everything was very practical.
Which is a good thing for me. Like I mean, like the restraining, let's say, of the movie, because that also allows it to have like a more, let's say, enclosed universe that you can enjoy on its own and everything. So, for example, I also think of like some other directors that were also that were also having.
Like, Brent just walked up out of here.
That were also having like interesting things going on. For example, Zack Snyder or some others. I do think that directors have a creative visions, or they should have.
They can. They always do.
So I think maybe I would want to see more of that, and them having creative freedom will also allow that. I understand that continuity is also very important, right? Because you would also want to have like a recognizable brand. But I do think that can be accomplished also via a good director and like a good.
Yeah, I'm wondering. It's interesting that Matt Reeves is in charge of Batman, but then James Gunn is like in charge of the rest of DC. Maybe I think he's the CEO of DC.
Oh yeah,
which is kind of an interesting position to hold.
Yeah. I mean, there are also like maybe some miscalculations going on there. I don't know.
I think so. I think the DC maybe needs a clean slate. But maybe Batman aside, because Batman, I do think it's its own thing. It makes me wonder, though, that they were not satisfied with the material that they had with the sequel. Because I thought they already filmed it, but I guess maybe they haven't.
That was for
far in the future.
Yeah, that for Batman was also like, what is going on?
Because you were like, that one feels like they got the first one right. I will tell you though, when I watched in the theaters, I did think I'm like, like. I felt like it was like kind of one of those things where if you pulled the thread, the entire like sweater would unravel. Like whenever I watched it, that was my feeling. I was like, they barely got away with this type of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No,
where it's kind of like it was just like they fixed it in the edit.
Yeah.
Whereas some other movies, like they're not repairable. There's not an ability to fix a movie because it's so fundamentally broken. Let's say.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can actually. Like with Basic Instinct with Sharon Stone and Michael Douglas, so many people say that movie was really the performance that Sharon Stone gave. The reason why it's so transformative and magical is because of the edit.
Okay.
Like the edit of the film was incredibly done. And they say, you write a movie 3 times. You write it the first time, You write it whenever you're filming it, and you write it when it's edited.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're constantly rewriting the final piece of material.
Yeah.
Because you have, there's so much room to play with things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys are not familiar with filmmaking, editing is everything. Like editing can radically change your end product, which takes the director has their preference, and they've got usually they have their takes that they prefer, but the studio usually gets final cut. And so the studio can like hijack a film. And that happened with David Fincher on like Aliens.
Yeah.
The Alien movies.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting. DC has a big group of iconic characters, but I think some of the culture's strongest characters that actually they're tied to the American experience too. Like Superman feels very like American for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so does Wonder Woman. So I think that it probably needs a complete do-over for DC.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think that's what they're actually in the middle of doing. So I don't think I don't think they're completely lost. I think they get it.
Yeah, and I do think that they have been like actively trying to as well. But yeah, I mean, I hope that they get like a.
We pray for you, DC. We are here for you.
Because I like DC,
You're televangelist. No, I think it's interesting to see like a cultural giant like that stumble. And I think in some ways it can actually be refreshing for the individual who feels like they're struggling on a individual basis.
Yeah.
To say like, I may be stumbling in my own life, but look at these behemoths like Disney.
Yeah.
And they're having these misfires, or
totally.
like Star Wars or Star Trek or, DC. Like the whole world is like reevaluating what they're valuing. Like what do we value? What is worth making a movie over? And I think that these are questions that we have to ask. And so DC probably needs a clean slate, and we'll see what happens with. I think them pushing back Batman is indicative of something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely.
So next on our list, you guys, is Star Trek. So Star Trek is so beloved. It's a unique, a totally unique property in terms of all these franchises. It's so iconic, and it's the most optimistic, I would say, out of all of these. And the biggest threat, I think, to Star Trek has been the latest series they did, which was Starfleet Academy, which is they're kind of just pretending that it didn't happen. So Star Trek is so beloved, people love it, and so they're pretending like this last series just didn't happen because it's not indicative of everything that Star Trek can and should be in terms of the visual experience, what the future should look like, and the way it's portrayed. The last series was called Starfleet Academy, and it was just seen as goofy, like almost like borderline, like having like a contempt for the source material. And sometimes, have you noticed that, Mario? Sometimes they'll make something like not just Star Trek, but like any property. And it's like, if the creators of the new thing don't love the old thing, there can be this kind of like I call it, it's almost like contempt. It's like they actually know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's like a betrayal of the audience, in the sense that they're like, let me add this, let me add that. And it has nothing to do with what the promise of the premise is.
I agree.
So it's like, why are you making this? Why were you chosen to be a part of this, magical storytelling experience?
Exactly. Yeah. I think
Jeff Shepard, I agree. I don't like the word cringe, but I would say Starfleet Academy was like the most cringe thing I've ever seen in my life. And you just watch like one episode of it, it's like you get like secondhand embarrassment from it. And the reason why is because they've had 60 years of source material to pull from. And I'd look at that. They were doing marketing for this like it was Friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, what's happening here?
Yeah. I mean,
I was like, it literally made me feel. Listen, I can really stand through anything, you guys. If there's anything y'all, if you've watched this channel, because we're pretty new, but this channel is basically brand new. But I think audience is pretty new. Like Brent can just sit through anything. Brent like just put like a Brent in a crazy situation, and he'll just be like a news anchor, and he'll talk his way out of it. But this thing right here is unforgivable. I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
I've never seen anything where I was like, no, this is unforgivable.
Wow. Yeah.
Starfleet Academy, it's like unforgivable. Like this was like, I forgive everything, you guys, everything. And I know how hard it is to make things. I know how hard it is to put art together. This felt like I was slapped in the face because I love Star Trek so much. This just felt like sinful. I was like, no, no.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, like I was like I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
So Starfleet Academy, I don't know of anyone who likes it. Anyone who does, I would say they may need to see a psychiatrist, a therapist, someone. So I haven't watched it, but from the poster, it just looks like a high school drama with the Klingons. Deplorable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it says we are doomed to agree. I don't think I've ever seen anything. I think there are people that go on YouTube and they're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm not that person. I'm not that person. But this one, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
This was that bad. This was so bad.
Wow.
That I've erased it from my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I've erased it from my mind.
No, yeah,
it was that bad.
That happens, yeah.
And people would review the first season. They couldn't bring themselves to watch the second season, even though they made YouTube videos like totally, criticizing the first season. But it was because the second season, the first season was so painful to watch. Even though they knew their videos were going to get a million views, they're like, I refuse to watch the second season. I was like, that is telling.
Yeah. So they even got away with the second season?
It's because it was a 2-season order.
Oh, wow.
So there were a lot of people on the internet, on the web, who were really criticizing the first season, who actually made a lot of money because they were making really watched videos criticizing this mess.
Oh, yeah.
But they couldn't bring themselves to watch the second season because they're just like, it was too painful. And Star Trek holds such a meaningful place in so many people's hearts.
Mm-hmm.
This just felt like being stabbed. And no, this was no. Yeah. Anyway, I just have to.
Particular. Yeah.
But the original Enterprise is amazing. The Next Generation crew is amazing. This was a mess.
Yeah.
This was just.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. I'm having PTSD from looking at those pictures. But Deep Space Nine was an amazing series as well. So there's one picture that we don't have that you can probably pull up, but it's Deep Space Nine.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the series from the Star Trek universe, was Deep Space Nine. But to go from making, so this is the original. This is like a reconstructed poster here on the screen.
Yeah.
But this shows all the legacy characters from Star Trek, this series from the 1960s. And so iconic characters like William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, very diverse cast, very earnest, portrayal. Mm-hmm. Here's Deep Space Nine. This is a really beloved series as well. So this is from the 90s. People absolutely love Deep Space Nine. And so to go from that to all this beautiful hope, and the story was just amazing and the acting was amazing. And there's a level of sincerity to it that just felt, very welcome and embraced by the audience. But then moving on to Starfleet Academy, it just felt so disingenuous and so preachy that it just was not Star Trek. It was a shadow of its former self.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love that term, painful to watch. Well, it was. I mean, it was. Listen, there have been times I'm sure I've been painful to watch. And I know because I was in pain while you were watching it. Okay. So, but I think when you have that joke. Yeah, but I think when you have that level of iconic property, you have a responsibility to do that. Mm-hmm. Do you like the Picard series? I haven't watched it. I'm afraid to. There is a Picard series now, and it actually has Patrick Stewart.
Oh, wow.
But I've noticed that people have not really, they just stayed away from it in terms of giving a critical assessment of it.
Mm-hmm.
The Star Trek is celebrating its 60th anniversary. So this year, this is all year long. It's the 60th anniversary. So space for everybody. You get space. You get space. I wish it were that easy. Gen Z is struggling with the housing crisis.
Yeah.
And we went to go see a house today, and it was such a mess.
Yeah.
What they had to offer. I was like, this is why Gen Z is struggling to find housing. It's because it's hard for anybody to find housing right now. Mm-hmm. It's hard to find your little place on earth that you call home right now. Let me know in the chat if you agree. I think that right now, the housing prices, everything is overpriced. We need a correction.
Mm-hmm.
It says we may be doomed. Says Picard is okay, or if it's okay, I mean, then it's probably not great. But in a market saturated with collapse, authoritarian futures, and apocalyptic science fiction, Star Trek really is distinctive in terms of that it argues that humanity can improve on itself. But that last television show, Starfleet Academy, was it showed everyone as incompetent, and it was there were, for example, there were one of the characters. She literally swallows her badge that they use to like teleport. It's like she's a grown woman.
Yeah.
And she's like, I think I swallowed my badge. And it's like, what? Like,
wow.
no.
Yeah.
Because these people are supposed to be the height of humanity.
Yeah.
And so Starfleet Academy was like a crime against humanity to make that, because it was insulting to people. Like it was insulting to, I would call them sheep, but that would be an insult to sheep. Yeah. It's that bad. Wow. It's literally that bad. It's like, they were like, what is, like, I'm like, who are you making this for? Yeah. Like, what is this for? Yeah. Like, who is your audience? Yeah. Is this hot take? I think any franchise can be saved with the right script and leading actor or actress. Mark Sands, I think that you're right. I think you're right, Mark Sands,
but the issue is that nobody knows what that is, you know? Like,
yeah.
Nobody knows.
What is the perfect formula?
Yeah.
But I think you're right, Mark Sands, 100%. I think we actually kind of secretly all agree on that. But I think once, like, DC has had so many missteps, you can start to easily make an argument to say that they can't get it together, let's say.
Yeah.
When the reality is that they can, and they have.
Because I think that there have been many times that they've thought that they have the perfect formula, and they didn't end up having it, you know? So I think that's the biggest issue. But you're right, Mark Sense. I mean, you're right.
So Star Trek, the reason why Star Trek worked was it had hope for the future, but without everyone being perfect. They always had some moral dilemma that they were dealing with. There was science and curiosity. They were seen as heroic. Like that was, and the problem with Starfleet Academy was that everybody was so incompetent. It took away the heroism, the ability for us to like see our heroes inside of the characters.
Yeah.
There was a moral dilemma. There were competent adults solving problems, which Starfleet Academy lacked. There was multicultural cooperation around the world. There were strange new civilizations to be explored. There was some episodic flexibility there, and the characters with disagreements arose from genuine ideas. They didn't disagree to disagree. There was an earnestness to their disagreements. But the current challenge has been the original series fans, the Next Generation fans, Deep Space Nine fans, even the Kelvin film audiences. It's the new modern, it's the streaming experience. So, what can Star Trek offer that no other franchise can? Well, it would probably be like that level of optimism for the future. But Mario, what do you think? Does optimism make Star Trek feel refreshing or old-fashioned?
I think from what I've heard, I think it makes it refreshing, like I think optimism will always be in fashion.
Hopefully.
just because giving yourself away to,
you guys don't forget to like the video if you're here. It helps us out a ton.
Just because giving yourself away to cynicism isn't like the answer for me. So I think
it's so easy to fall into that, right?
It's very easy. So I think being optimistic is actually maybe in some cases counter
counterculture,
counterculture,
like being swimming against the tide.
Yeah, I think
like by being optimistic. Yeah, because it's like Supergirl was like, maybe the character was so cynical feeling that it's like, that's not what we want in our heroes. We actually need the optimism is actually a crucial point that maybe gets overlooked.
Yeah, because we were saying the other day that there are more dystopians that utopias, right?
Right, in terms of fiction.
Yeah, so
like we're constantly exploring what could go wrong versus like this is how everything goes right.
I think so.
Yeah, no, you're right. So, would you watch a Star Trek without a conventional villain?
Yeah, I think so. I was very intrigued by the idea of also like the godly aspect of the universe, and like how that creates conflict within the individual. So I think I definitely would watch a Star Trek movie without a traditional character.
And I think Star Trek actually does explore that. That's one of the few properties that does explore like non-conventional villains. Like sometimes there is no definitive villain. It's like there's like an anomaly that they're having to comprehend. That they're experiencing in the universe.
I like when there are some bigger issues going on. Maybe not just like a single villain, let's say.
Right, like someone's trying to kill you. No, but there's like the nexus. Like the villain is the idea that there's this thing. Like there may be a flesh and blood villain, but the real villain is like, let's say, like the idea of like living in the nexus.
Exactly.
Star Trek Generations.
Yeah.
Or like dealing with ideas of like immortality, or like authority, like in next Star Trek Insurrection, which is like, some people don't love that movie because it doesn't have some conventional plots, but that's part of why Star Trek is so appealing.
Yeah, like even some existential issues going on. I kind of like that. So
yeah, a lot of the existing people that were in the original, or at least the next generation of Star Trek, like Brent Spiner, who played Data, they actually were like, we're calling Paramount and telling them, like, you have to like stop this Starfleet Academy mess, and like they're destroying the legacy. And so they've fired the guy. I think it's something Kurtzman. You got, maybe the chat will even know his name is something Kurtzman. Hey, David Young, how's it going?
Hey, David.
It's something Kurtzman, and they've literally like fired him, and they're having to redo the whole thing because of the direction that Star Trek has taken has been so poorly received by the public and also by the legacy actors. Who, you got to realize that Star Trek is one of those few franchises where some of the actors directed the films. So there's a new podcast that started this year, and part of it was in reaction to, not to hate on like Starfleet Academy, but it was to give a voice to the existing legacy characters, who the actors themselves feel such a strong connection to the characters that they play on screen.
Yeah. Was it Alex Kurtzman?
Alex Kurtzman, there you go. Yeah. So his whole vision of Star Trek is like being kind of like retconned now. And if you guys know what retcon means, it means like going into a property, like a famous property, and like pretending like this didn't happen. Like we're gonna just like cut this out of the story, like of the universe. Can you look at what the official definition of retconning is?
Yeah.
Because I think there are people who are so, they're like obsessed with this idea, and then other people are still kind of learning about it. Because there's so many, the critics and the fans, they have a voice now. And I think that's what people love about like YouTube and these other platforms, is that it allows the audience to have a voice. So it's not just like, this is what you have and you're going to love it.
Yeah, exactly. So a reckoning generally refers to a calculation and assessment or a selling of accounts. In a broader sense, it means the arrival of consequences or a judgment where past actions are evaluated and you ultimately pay for or are held accountable for what you have done.
What's that? What is the term?
Reckoning.
Oh, okay. But there's actually another term. It's called retconning.
Oh, okay.
It's literally, that's why it was confusing. So there is a reckoning. The reckoning is a good word too. Yeah, reckoning is like, like a moment of truth, having to deal with like the past, like having the past, the rooster comes home to roost. But it's literally ret and then con, like RET and then CON. And then it's where you go, it's like where you ignore a certain part of a storyline. And it's like you pretend like those.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
But you're right. Reckoning is a good word too, though.
Yeah, sorry.
Even in the South, people say, I reckon. I reckon. I think so.
Sorry. So retcon is a literary device where established facts of a fictional story are intentionally altered, ignored, or contradicted.
Literary device, you guys. It's a literary device.
Yeah. Altered, ignored, or contradicted by new information in a later installment.
Right. So that's what they're planning to do with Starfleet Academy, and potentially with all of the Star Trek stuff that's on Paramount Plus. It wouldn't surprise me if they end up deleting it, like, which sounds so crazy, but they've been doing that.
Yeah.
Before movies that are come out, like with Batgirl, and then also with all these. Did you know they deleted like over? Can you Google how many Disney series did Disney Plus delete? It was something like 50 series, something crazy. And I'm like, that many, like just literally gone. Like series and TV shows, or series and movies.
Over 100 original and library TV shows and movies globally from Disney Plus.
Think about that. Like literally it's gone forever. So it's because, you know why they do it? They don't want to pay residuals to anybody involved with that.
Yeah.
So by existing on the platform, they're obligated or obliged to pay residuals to all the people that worked in that product.
Yeah.
But if they know that it's losing them money to pay residuals for just existing on their platform, they're just going to delete it.
Wow.
So over 100
yeah,
original series, movies from Disney that are just completely gone from the library.
Well, yeah.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is, yeah.
But it makes sense from a stockholder or an executive's point of view.
Yeah.
It's probably devastating though. Like for example, the Willow series is just completely gone.
Yeah.
So you can't find it anywhere.
Wow.
So, but Star Trek was a unique property. Optimism was always like its advantage over the other, competing, let's say, universes out there. And I think Star Trek can come back if there's a restoration of like the exploration and discovery, and like let scientists and diplomats and engineers, drive the stories versus like maybe this, idea of the modern, wokeness, which like maybe makes people mad. Just that word in itself is like is a charged word. And avoid imitating Star Wars, which Star Trek did for a while with the Kelvin verse, which the J.J. Abrams movies were.
Yeah.
And may develop a modestly budget, theatrical release with like some major new ideas, there's so many things to explore. And Star Trek does a great job of exploring like the human psyche, the sense of self, the moral dilemmas that we deal with on a daily basis in our lives.
Yeah.
Like what is the ultimate truth? What's right? Because each moment to moment, decides the next moment. And so Star Trek does a good job of like picking up and really unique points in the characters' lives and exploring the dilemma of what would you do if you were presented with this, And I think Star Trek has always done that well, except for lately.
Yeah,
so,
true. Yeah.
In a culture addicted to dystopia, Star Trek's optimism may be the boldest thing on its own. Just the idea that Star Trek in and of itself is bold. But you'll never see me defending Starfleet Academy, though.
Yeah.
Because I think that it wasn't optimistic. It was just like incompetent. And I think there's a really big difference there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
You guys, if you've been watching, let us know if you think that we've been fair to all these different franchises like Star Wars, Star Trek, DC, Marvel. I think the only one I think we've been fair to all of them, really.
Yeah.
Because I think we want them to succeed, actually. We actually want them to succeed because the initial premise for all these different movies and franchises is inherently, it's we want to believe in the movie magic. I know it's Thursday, but come on, folks. JK, do what you can. No shame. I've got to go if you can't super chat right now. Thank you, Mark Sands. We appreciate you so much. I love your black cat picture.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark Sands.
Thank you, Mark Sands. We appreciate you so much. What's funny though is it like literally like the later it gets, it's like that's more like when people I think are available. So, but then it's also like it's like when you start is an interesting game.
Yeah,
it's definitely like marathon-esque, right, Mark Sands? All right, so the next one on our list is Jurassic Park / Jurassic World, which I listen. I love dinosaurs. As a child, I had dinosaurs on everything.
Yeah.
I even had a Bible case that was made by my nana, and she made the Bible case like out of a fabric that had dinosaurs on it.
Wow, that's
cool. I'll never forget like growing up with that.
That's so cool. Yeah.
So this is Jurassic Park from 1994, right? I want to say.
Yeah. I think so.
Some people might argue that it needs a reset. I don't necessarily think that there's anything that's gone terribly wrong with this. But also listen to me. I'm much more forgiving when it comes to Jurassic Park because I just love this franchise so much. I forgive it versus other franchises. I'm like, how could you?
Yeah.
This one, I'll let chat weigh in on this one, you guys. But are dinosaurs enough, or does Jurassic does it need a new philosophical like reason, let's say, to exist? I'd be curious. Thank you, David Young. You're amazing wingman. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what worked? So the scientific arrogance from the original premise, right? Like man playing God. That was what worked about it. Like identifying that, corporate shortcuts, the chaos theory. They talk about chaos theory. Whenever he puts the drop of water on her, and it comes to his inner arm. The commercialization of nature, adults failing to respect systems they cannot control, and the awe turning into terror. Like something is like, oh wow, and then that just turning into like sheer terror. That's really what that does well. Some people can argue that the movie started to be weakened with the later installments, increasingly treating the dinosaurs as superheroes. Kind of like it was like the dinosaurs became. It was like the takes started to replicate the Avengers take, the famous swoop around.
Yeah. Okay.
Like the military assets or action set pieces, the more ordinary the dinosaurs became, the less wonder they produced. So I think the reveal of the Bronchiosaurus, that was probably an interesting take. Did you remember that? That was in Jurassic World when they introduced, they were like, because for so long in the Jurassic Park lore, the king of the dinosaurs was the T-Rex. So like their way out of that was to like genetically engineer another dinosaur.
I remember that one.
Which was the Bronchiosaurus.
Yeah.
And I think the practical effects, here we go. Here it is. So the Lost World. That's where they got that movie from an old book, like an old book, The Lost World.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I actually like all the Jurassic Parks personally, but I know that people have strong feelings about this.
Yeah, I enjoy them too.
John Shepard, a lot of people have been saying that, like R.I.P. Alan Graham, because that's the character that Sam Neill played.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that there are also like a lot of people who are defensive of the Jurassic Park / World franchise. Right. I get it, but I enjoy them. Even this last one with this
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, with her, she's cool in it. You know, that's a cool movie, I think.
I actually do think that last one was successful. I actually again, I don't think I think some people criticize the Brachiosaurus as like this idea that the bigger the dinosaur, like the better, or like, versus like, and we keep returning to the park. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
Like we keep going back to the park, or there's an adjacent island.
Yeah.
And so this idea that it makes sense because the dinosaurs are a direct response of this one park that's like, man playing God, and then everything goes wrong. But these iconic images of the dinosaur, the dinosaur did kind of feel like the hero. Not that it's the hero, but the way that it's portrayed in some ways.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's a very interesting dinosaur movie coming next month called The End of Oak Street that looks way better than most recent Jurassic Park movies. I saw that trailer. So this is cool. This scene right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it is kind of like, it's like them screaming.
Yeah.
But like that sound is like metal, and it's like there's a documentary where they break that down and show you how they created those original sound effects.
Yeah.
But it's very like awe-inspiring.
Mm-hmm. It is.
But I think a lot of people don't really know what to do with Jurassic Park. Is there a new Jurassic Park on the horizon? I think this one just came out, so they don't have any plans yet for the next one.
Right. I think this was from last year, I think. But apparently there's one plan from either 2027 or 2028. So
yeah,
there's that.
And I think that's something that we've come to expect from this type of IP, is that like the regular systematic installments of a new film.
Right. Which I don't know how the expectations ultimately play out, because you might see some sort of expectation now, and by the time the movie is released, there might not be as much as an expectation
anymore. The same way. I love Jeff Goldblum. I've met Jeff Goldblum. I met him in a bathroom in New York City outside of Broadway, like in the 90s. I've told you the story, right?
Yeah.
And he had a play. And never mind, it was actually in the early 2000s. He had a play called The Pillow Man. And so he was like, you should come see my show. And later that day, I saw his show because my dad went out and bought tickets for it. And I was like, wow, that's the magic of like entertainment. And I'll never forget that day, because we literally saw it that same day.
Wow.
He was like, go see me. He was like, you should come see my show. And I was like, I told my dad, and he was like, boom, we got tickets.
Wow.
And it was like a very dark play, but I'll never forget meeting Jeff Goldblum. And that was, they say don't meet your heroes, but that one was a great experience.
Yeah,
I loved meeting him. He kind of taught me too, like the power of like, what does it mean to be like a good celebrity? Right. Jeff Goldblum is he's a good celebrity.
That's
like
right.
He knows how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think some people argue that Jurassic Park became weaker when it forgot the dinosaurs were not the theme. They were like a consequence, right? Of the theme of playing God. And so I think, I love Jurassic Park personally. So if you guys are new to the stream, don't forget to like the video. But Mark Sands, I agree with your point about Jeff Goldblum. If you have any more pictures for Jurassic Park, I would put them up.
Yeah.
I really can't criticize Jurassic Park too much, but I think that some people were less than impressed with the Jurassic World series.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I actually thought it made sense. It was a natural extension of the original universe. The one Jurassic Park I did not love was the last, like the Dominion.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that one?
No, I missed that one.
That's the one when they brought all the legacy characters back and they mixed them with the Jurassic World actors. And it just kind of felt like a hodgepodge. So I do think that was like the one misstep was Jurassic World Dominion. And that was where they tried to cross over the legacy characters with the new characters.
Yeah.
One, it just was like, at the end of it, I was like, oh, that's the first one that didn't really do it for me.
Yeah, I think whenever they try to also combine all the characters and everything, it's easier for it to get messy, right? I think.
Yeah. And I think, listen, if you're an armchair expert, it's easy to criticize anything.
Right.
But I think as fans, there's a level of I'm never hostile towards the property.
Yeah.
But I know, some fans are. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
They're like, you're like, oh my gosh, it's like they're charging into war.
Yeah.
It's because people are they love it so much. Definitely in my top 5 people to have a conversation with is Jeff Goldblum. Well, John Shepard, you won't forget it. He's really like iconic. In person, he's like iconic. So, what is this? That new movie?
This is Dominion.
Oh, that's Dominion.
Yeah.
And you know why they did that feathered look? It's because they were leaning more into like what they think realism. Now dinosaurs actually looked like.
Yeah.
Like the raptors actually were covered in feathers.
I've heard some of that. Like if we had an idea of how, they look, that they would be more similar to birds, right? I think so.
So John Shepard agrees. So John Shepard, I'm so glad that you joined. John Shepard, have you been here before? Or is today your first day?
Let us know, John Shepard.
Yeah. But yeah, he's right. Like Dominion was a mess. But it was good to see Sam Neill. Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, we're gonna do one more series. We're gonna do the part. This will have to be 2 parts. We'll have to do part 2 tomorrow.
I think so. There are so many iconic franchises.
Yes, but it also like opens the door to like. I think this is the kind of stuff that the fans want to talk about because they want to have a voice in this.
Yeah.
And so John Shepard, it's like finding people like this who want to talk about these things. So Lord of the Rings, this will be the last one we talk about for the night. And then we're going to continue watching Silo, by the way, you guys.
Right.
And this is the thing about going live on a regular basis is that like the people kind of come to expect it.
Yeah.
And then, we can kind of talk about where we are and like what we're up to.
Exactly.
So you guys know,
yeah.
Go on.
No, I was just saying exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So like today we went to go look at a new house. But it was, it's so interesting, like properties right now.
Yeah.
But we had to go through so many gates and so many barriers to get to the house. It was so weird. It was like in a fancy neighborhood, but wasn't the best option. You guys, housing is such a unique dilemma in Mexico City and any major city for that matter.
Yeah, it is.
So you guys, thank you for being here. It says LL Brent would lose his mind staying up all night talking about movies in the live. Right, David Young? I mean, wouldn't anybody though? Like if you're forced to, like what, at gunpoint? To be like,
that's like
like that's hilarious.
That's essentially the plot of Miguel de Cervantes Saavedra, El Quijote, like like he lost his mind because of reading so many books.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So
right. So Don Quixote lost his mind.
Yeah.
From reading too many books.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But isn't that an interesting argument for the guy who like established the Spanish language?
Yeah.
Like to be like, because nobody was reading books at that point. I mean, very few people were. Maybe Miguel.
Maybe that was the point, right? Maybe they didn't know what
He was like theorizing.
What were the consequences?
I think I get what he was trying to say though. I think in a world where very few people were even literate,
right.
And the few people who were, it was like it could become an obsession reading books if your reality was so grim.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I just live on the farm. That's what I do. I live on the farm.
Yeah.
That's all they do. Of course you're going to be chasing windmills and imagining a fascinating land full of magical creatures. And, there are so many things that you could think of.
Yeah.
Why accept reality as it is when there are so many beautiful things that you could imagine?
I agree.
But how does that story end? I don't remember.
I read it like a long time ago, so I also don't remember. I think they all like pass away one by one.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right. So the Lord of the Rings, though. So we're gonna. If you're here, don't forget to like the video. It helps out a ton. So thank you for being here. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
But we're just not getting started. I feel like with this channel. So you think about like, Batman, them kicking the can down the road. I'm like, there's like thousands of days in between movies.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time.
Yeah, it is.
To focus on the creative output and what you want. But I think they're also trying to adjust for changing tastes and changing audiences.
Yeah.
So Lord of the Rings. Yeah. So I personally love Lord of the Rings, especially the first 3 films. You guys let me know. I'm a big fan of The Fellowship of the Ring, the Return of the King, The Two Towers, the second one. So good. Do you have a particular favorite? Or do you just remember them all together?
I just remember them all together, to be quite honest. But I do enjoy them, and I think that they prove that we as an audience can hold a franchise long enough for it to be always interesting.
The good point. Yeah. And I love Peter Jackson. I think he's so like magical. It's interesting because Andy Serkis is actually directing these new films.
Oh yeah.
So the guy who played Gollum, and he went on to be like the motion capture guy.
Yeah.
So he's essentially the motion capture actor who plays in the Planet of the Apes films.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be a two-parter, guys. So we're going to have to do part 2 tomorrow. So we have the Hobbit films on the top, and then we have the Lord of the Rings at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did enjoy the Hobbit, but I think the Lord of the Rings has like more inherent rewatched value.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's also like
the best trilogy of all time. John Shepard, a lot of people believe that.
Yeah.
And I think the second film won the Academy Award, didn't it? Like
yeah, it was one of these, but yeah, which was also like a new thing, right? For a film of this nature to win an award of.
And it was like a surprise because it was a sequel and it was a fantasy film.
I think so. Yeah. We will never forget seeing these movies as a kid. Yeah, that's the thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And Andy Serkis, he's directing to return Gollum. He's as Gollum and the Hunt for Gollum with Peter Jackson. Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens involved as producers and writers. So the film is currently dated for December 17th, 2027.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to be interesting.
So 2027 is apparently going to be a great year for, these
well,
movies.
I mean, I guess it's up for debate.
I mean, like we'll see. We'll obviously see, but, just the fact that many of these are scheduled for next year,
Yeah, Andy Serkis is an amazing talent. And I think it's kind of like going back to Star Trek, being so close to a franchise.
Yeah.
Who better to direct it than someone so intimate with it?
Yeah.
Right.
You made a great point when you said that if you are not as necessarily familiarized with the thing, it might come across as, like you don't care at all. So that's a great point.
What happened with Star Trek, like Nemesis, the director of Star Trek Nemesis. People were like, you don't even know Star Trek. Mm-hmm. Like, how could you? And then it showed in the movie. Again, it feels like contempt. Maybe the creator of Starfleet Academy actually had a big affinity for it, but it didn't feel that way. Mm-hmm. I mean, it felt like they hated it. And they were like, I'm going to do everything to destroy any positive memories you have of Star Trek. And I was like, no.
Right.
So whereas Andy Serkis feels like he's a kind of a natural choice, the fact that, it requires all of your physical self to play Gollum.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So there's so much physicality in that. And I think that, inherently, you have to love it on some level to be able to do that, to play the physicality of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what worked about Lord of the Rings is like, it was very morally serious. Like it wasn't silly. Like it took itself seriously and it did a good job. Mm-hmm. It was sincere. The fellowship, the sacrifice, the detailed physical world building that we see here, just iconic imagery, a clear emotional destination. Whereas some films that you get lost, The Lord of the Rings was very clear in its intent and its emotional direction, and the visual effects serving rather than replacing the characters. Like it never took the first place. It was always there to serve the larger story of Frodo headed to to Mordor.
Yeah.
And, but the risks are like filling gaps that were powerful because they were briefly described, depending on recognizable characters too much, or like confusing Tolkien's world with unlimited franchise infrastructure. Like Tolkien's world is not necessarily, your traditional IP that you can just like play around with.
Yeah.
J.R.R. Tolkien, he wrote this, and he had a clear intent for it. So it's like, you have to be careful with this source material because in some ways it feels more precious than, let's say, a comic book. Maybe that's just my eyes, but I think so. There's something there about that.
Yeah. And I think it happens more often than we think.
Yeah, and sometimes they treat the lore as the plot, and it's not the plot. The lore is the lore.
Exactly.
And so, like, returning to the trilogy's visual language without its narrative necessity, it would be dangerous. Like, you need to have a narrative reason to return to Tolkien. People love Tolkien. Like, he revolutionized fantasy.
Yeah.
And people have been imitating him ever since. And the anti-Tolkien, if you guys like these types of topics, you guys like the video and subscribe because we talk about this stuff here. But just so you know, Mario, like literally there was a publisher that he took Tolkien's work and he was looking for writers. They did like I was like an open call and was like, I need to have my Tolkien's, my version of this.
Wow, yeah.
And so basically all the world building since Tolkien has been trying to copy Tolkien. And then there came George R.R. Martin, and he was called like the anti-Tolkien because all of his characters are like morally twisted and they're up front and center.
Yeah.
Like we're existing with these characters and it's like this person is, in love with their brother and they're twins and their kid is the king and he's like not really the kid's son. And that was kind of, on its surface level, you might think of it as Tolkien-esque because it's world building in that way. and it feels medieval. But it was kind of were viewed as anti-Tolkien because the people who were getting upfront and center material were like inherently like immoral, whereas like Frodo Baggins is totally moral, right? And I think that's a really interesting playground for But there's something very pure about Tolkien's work.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, these are like the two examples, or like the two prime examples, right, of like the fantasy novel.
Yeah.
Nowadays, yeah.
You mean like Tolkien and George R. R. Martin?
Yeah. Like they, I see.
Like the anti-hero.
Yeah. Like I see what you said. Like maybe people think of them as more related than they really are.
Yeah, I mean, there is. I think one is maybe like a mirror to the other.
Yeah.
Like it's different, but it's like the opposite of.
Yeah.
But do you think? I think it's interesting because I think that Andy Serkis is probably going to do a good job for the hunt for Gollum, but it's always dangerous territory because it's like Lord of the Rings. It's like that is very dicey because I don't think the Rings of Power necessarily inspired a lot of love from the audience.
Right.
I think that there were some moments in the Rings of Power that were kind of impactful, but there's nothing that's blown me away so far. Have you seen the Rings of Power?
No, I haven't. No.
I'd be curious to know if the audience has seen the Rings of Power and if they have a compelling, if they felt like there was a reason for it to exist. I do think there were some interesting reveals, but I actually liked the Rings or the Wheel of Time better. And they canceled, Amazon canceled the Wheel of Time and continued the Rings of Power. And I was like, gosh, the Wheel of Time was amazing. And that's another fantasy series. The Wheel of Time from, what is it? Robert Jordan, I think it is. But the Wheel of Time, we could do an entire like 10-hour video breaking down the Wheel of Time because it's so crazy. But the Rings of Power, that's the current, iteration. There's like a final, I think, season coming in for this. They maybe 2 more seasons. But yeah, John Shepard says about. I think John Shepard and I have probably very similar taste. He says the Rings of Power are awful and an insult to Tolkien. Yeah, a lot of people feel that way. John Shepard. A lot of people have that same exact feeling. I do think there's some moments in there. I try to give a little bit of credit, but I think you're right. Most people agree that it feels definitely awful compared to the majesty that is the original Lord of the Rings. And then here's the Wheel of Time. Yeah. And I love the actors in this too. I was actually quite impressed with the actors in the Wheel of Time because some people criticized it for being too diverse, like on purpose. But I actually think the actors did a good job. I don't think it was.
Josh Stradowski is I like him. I think
is he the guy in the front?
Yeah.
He's great. He did a great job in this.
Yeah, he's really
he blew me away.
Rosamund Pike is also like,
iconic.
Yeah, she's there.
She's like she's one of the most talented actors of our time.
Yeah.
I really believe that. I mean, she can do anything.
Yeah.
That whenever she was in, did you see the Now You See Me, Now You Don't?
Yeah.
She's the villain.
Yeah.
She killed it.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. And she's playing like a South African accent. It was just incredible.
Yeah.
I'm blown away by Rosamund Pike, an incredible actor.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah.
She recently said in an interview, she's like, we're like, you guys, we're going to have to let this one go. Because there were some fans who were like trying to like, keep it alive with protests and things.
Oh, yeah.
Online petitions and things like that. And she was like, I think we have to let this one go, guys. And I was like, wow, like if she's saying that, then she knows it's like it's not going to come back because of the cost of production, etc. But you guys, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. That way we can continue talking about these things, exploring them, probing them, and dissecting them with you guys.
Yeah. Please don't forget to do that, guys.
Mario's like, yeah, that. Mario's like, yeah, that.
Do it now.
Yeah, that right now. Yeah. Mark Sands says, I think I was the first subscriber of the channel. You probably were, Mark Sands. Wow. You probably were.
Yeah.
This is kind of like traditional television. Like we're a spinoff of Jimmy Explores.
Yeah.
And Jimmy is, going through puberty, all the things. He wants to do his own thing right now.
Yeah.
As he should.
But thank you, Mark Sands.
Thank you, Mark Sands. This is our last one. So if you want to do one more, tomorrow we're going to dive into Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah.
Because Harry Potter, we kind of touched on it a little bit.
A little bit, but
we didn't bring up any graphics or anything, I don't think.
No, not yet. But I mean, that's like a there's a big expectation right there, I think. And
absolutely.
And it will be hard, I think.
Very hard
to top, I think.
Very hard. So tomorrow we're doing that. We're doing Doctor Who. We're doing Alien and Predator. We're doing Terminator, Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
The Matrix. James Bond.
James Bond is good.
Transformers. Planet of the Apes.
So guys, subscribe. You won't want to miss it out. So
yeah. So I don't think Hollywood is the problem here. I think it's the franchises are not inherently like the enemy of creativity.
Right.
Some of the greatest stories ever told are continuations in a franchise, but characters they should deepen over time.
Yeah.
Like they shouldn't become more. The worlds should become richer. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like generations of viewers form emotional connections to the same mythology, and I think that some of these do it well, some of them don't do it so well. And when is a story not allowed to end? Are some stories not allowed to end? Maybe it's a reflection of the human condition, the idea that that just keeps going. So when every victory must be reversed so another sequel can exist, that's when I think we start entering dangerous territory.
Yeah,
it's like oh, that didn't happen, and that's why that gives us license to make the next one.
Exactly. Yeah,
which I think was very Marvel-esque.
Yeah, and I mean, it can be not the best thing out there, but yeah.
And then the longer a franchise goes on, like every single mystery ends up having to be explained.
Yeah.
Because that mystery just can't exist because it's like this giant, black hole that you're avoiding.
Yeah.
So the longer it exists, you have to start explaining everything, and then it becomes an entire movie. It's like, okay, well, let's explain it, but let's make it a movie or a series.
Yeah.
Well, it's like maybe it's like the Force itself.
Exactly.
Like it's like we're Star Wars. Like let the Force be.
Yeah.
Don't try to over-explain it because you'll get lost.
In doing so, you will be oversimplifying it, maybe.
Yeah, and nostalgia can become a substitution for imagination, and I think that's what happened with probably that last dinosaur Dominion movie, Jurassic Park Dominion.
Yeah,
with Star Wars with the crossover. Whenever you combine the legacy characters and the new characters, I think people do have a level of exhaustion, and they're just like over it.
Yeah,
and affection may get them to buy one ticket, but like 40 movies from Marvel, like I don't know.
Right.
And then the audience trust, it means the audience believes the creators understand the source material. But sometimes the latest creators, like with Star Trek, they actually don't. So that trust, the trust in the story is lost. So, and once the trust is lost, the bigger budgets don't automatically restore it. Like you can't just throw money at the problem because, cameos are not going to bring back your core audience.
Yeah.
But in terms of Marvel, maybe it doesn't need more homework. It needs like more of like an emotional direction. Like where is it truly headed? Star Wars, they probably need to explore the other parts of the universe that are beyond Skywalker. DC doesn't necessarily need an emergency reboot, but it does need some creative stability because DC just is all over the place. Star Trek doesn't need to become darker or dumber. But I think returning to its original sense of optimism and the wonder of space would be wonderful. And Jurassic Park, it needs reasons to fear scientific arrogance again. Like they need another reason to be like, don't play God versus bigger dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And then Middle Earth doesn't need every footnote to be filmed. Like every single aspect of the world doesn't have to be filmed because it can lose its magic in that way. So you guys, thank you for watching. Mark Sands, if you'd like to be our first and last, that'd be amazing.
David Young, that's a good idea. He says,
what did he say?
Mary, can you dress up as for the Harry Potter life so it's more like Harry Potter?
Well, we have a Harry Potter wand. I happen to have it right here, and I've been putting stuff away, guys. But I happen to have a wand.
That's a good idea, David. I'll see what I can do.
Bippity boppity boop. That's not Harry Potter, but that's
Cinderella.
Cinderella.
Yeah, well, we do have a Harry Potter wand.
Yeah. Was this the Elder Wand? I think it's the Elder Wand.
I'm not so much into Harry Potter, I have to say.
How dare you not know the wand? So there you go.
Yeah, we do have it. Not that we are wizards, or are we?
Yep, it says it's their fault for being awesome. Oh, Mark Sands, you're so kind. I appreciate you so much. Seriously.
Yeah.
Mark Sands, I will never forget you being first to the party.
Yeah.
But this is the Elder Wand here. So people love Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Whenever the last Harry Potter came out, I actually was interviewing people in the audience.
Oh,
we're going into the theaters.
Yeah.
And everyone was dressing up, and it was a real event because everybody knew it was going to be the last film of the original franchise, and it's enjoying its 25th anniversary, I think, this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah.
Because it came out in 2001. So there are a lot of things that are having their anniversary. Like Star Trek is having its 60th anniversary. Harry Potter's 25 years. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Have you seen the videos of J.K. Rowling describing how she wrote that on a napkin?
No, I haven't.
She was on a train, and like the idea started to come to her.
Oh wow!
And she was living in government housing.
Wow. Like yeah. I've heard a little bit of her story. Yeah.
Really amazing.
Yeah.
You guys, thank you for being here. Mark Sands, thank you so much. He says, I already am. That's right. Thank you so much. All right, you guys, we're gonna do the countdown. We're gonna go eat something. Mario and I are both like thirsty and hungry. Right, Mario? I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
Mario's probably like, and I need to pee.
So super chats for food, guys.
That's right. Super chats for food, guys.
We do eat sometimes.
We do eat. We're not AI. We're real people, guys. So don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, please do so.
What's great about this channel is that we're a new channel. So if you're looking for your tribe, your community, this is a channel to do it.
Yeah.
I think people are looking for their corner of the internet to be like, where can I exist? Where can I share?
We're here, guys. So
we're here.
Yeah.
To interact with.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys so much. All right. He says only by my account. He says what is that?
Only one by my count.
Oh, thank you, Mark Sands. All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mark Sands. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you, Mark Sands.
I've been going down memory lane because I'm remembering, seeing all these movies, whether the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah. You know what I mean? For a franchise, you can call it the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
In terms of like Black Adam, Lord of the Rings, Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We haven't even covered the Fast and Furious franchise.
That would be a fun one.
We've lightly touched it. Yeah. But it's so interesting, and I think that audiences are interacting with the material more and more.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Thank you. We may
be doomed. Thank you for being here. Cool, I love the username. That's a good username.
Yeah. How should we call you though?
We should call you We. We've covered the book We May Be Doomed. You should go look up the book We.
Yeah.
If you guys are watching this, go look up that book. I always bring that book up because it was the very first book banned by the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And it's one of the first like dystopian future books. It's about the future state controlling everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first part of your username. We may be doomed. So he says Matthew.
Oh, cool.
All right, Matthew.
Thank you so much, Matthew.
Being here. You guys have a good night. We're gonna pull it. What you're doing?
No, I was just like waving. Yeah.
I saw typing, so I didn't know what you were doing. All right. We love you guys. We're gonna go watch Silo. We're gonna go continue our Silo journey.
Yeah.
Learning about on that show.
Yeah.
Which is dystopian future.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. We love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.